Welcome to Self-Perfected.
All right.
Live. Live.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Live.
It's the pre-election eve
Oh boy.
self-perfected podcast
What are
special,
the odds
special
by next
edition.
Sunday? What are the odds by next Sunday? Next podcast we have a clear winner.
That's
Zero
a good
percent or
Very
question.
1%?
low.
0% or 1%?
It's close to 1%.
It might take 2 to 3 weeks for us to
Might take
count
4 more years.
just one
Who
county.
knows?
And now, is that not an indictment of our modern education system?
Dude, I
It takes them that long to count.
I
Down
would
with the
agree.
modern education system.
I would agree. Like, how, yes, you already know.
Guys, you had 4 years to figure it out.
And they didn't.
Why
It's
does it
so
take them
funny.
so long?
It's so
Have they
funny
explained why?
because Kamala's campaign is she's like, let's not go back to the old. She's like all about turn a new page. Like, we're not going back. I see those yard signs now. We're not going back. It's like, wait, what?
I've never seen those
Were
yard signs.
you just well,
But
first of
also,
all,
I
First
live
of
in
all,
Florida in the country, so all I
isn't
see
that
is
the
Trump.
ironic? Isn't that the ironic thing, though? Is literally her whole actual point is going back.
yeah.
Well, I mean, she says we're not going back, but it's literally like you're in power right now.
Right. I mean, there's
So,
layers to it because yeah, she's in
Yeah,
power
well,
right now, but
yeah,
also what it
yes.
represents is
But I mean, like
recycled
going
through the
back
system.
to like, yeah, just keep going back to that same point. And
Trust the
literally, it's
politician.
like Trump has assembled this team of people who are like, let's actually move forward. Like, is he going to be able to do all of that? Is he sincere in all of it? I don't know. Like, you can't know these things. You can't know what's going to happen after he gets into office. Is he just going to ditch all those people and all that? But I mean, I kind of doubt it at this point. I feel like just basically looking at it, there's enough momentum. I don't see any reason why he's like, I just want to get elected just so I can make some more money. I don't know. Like that's what people try to say, and it's like
Yeah.
he could have just gone back to
Yeah.
building buildings.
I know. Like, okay,
So,
he's like let's
yeah.
think about it. He's already been president. As far as like power goes, if you're Bill Clinton, if you're Obama, if you're like any of these presidents, they make millions of dollars just on speaking engagements, which
Where's Bill is showing up drunk to? It's
Dude,
like,
and,
come
and
on.
honestly, if he was like, I fully just want to go into like making money, could he just be like I'm going to support the Democrats, totally put my weight behind them and everything, and get back in all that the club and all that? I mean, come on.
dude, and like, okay, you know what I realized? These speaking engagements, because I used to think it was like, oh yeah, if you're a president, you can just command a fee of like $1 million like to go speak because you got that kind of clout. But you know what it actually is?
Hmm.
It's like they make some sort of business arrangement with the company most of the time
It's like money laundering.
while they're still president, and then like they go and do a speaking engagement after they're done, and
Yeah,
voila, it's $1 million.
yeah,
Like
it's a good point. Yeah.
it's
Lame. What a lame, stupid fucking way to live. And what a lame,
Mitchell,
stupid.
lame. Never.
It is. It's like what? You're gonna go just be a fucking corrupt politician and then afterwards hang out with your bros and get them to pay you for a fucking speaking engagement. It's like, dude,
Yeah,
that sounds one, so fucking boring. And two, like what are you doing with your life? Are you just a shell of a human? That's what I think they are.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
So,
funny. The other night I heard Trump speak. He had such a funny line. He's like he's
oh
like,
yeah, that's right.
I
You
don't
went to a rally.
yeah, the MAGA rally. It was intense, guys. I saw literally no Nazis the whole time though, so I was kind of confused. I was looking for him and I couldn't find him. Um,
Well, I don't know. I
I
saw
mean,
I saw some
Pedro is sitting next to
selfies.
me. He's
I
he's
saw
very
you
close to
posted
I,
him,
some
so
selfies.
I saw some
maybe.
selfies.
Did the people leave early?
Hey, is my
I didn't
audio
see anyone
better?
leave early.
My audio better?
Maybe
No,
slightly.
and what was funny was Kamala was also in Milwaukee the same day earlier, and we drove right past. It was like at the state fairgrounds was her thing, and when we were
Yeah.
driving into the city, it was like she was right. It was like right there, and there was no. It was like the state fairground was like right there, and there was like nobody. Like you couldn't tell that it was a thing. So
Hmm.
I don't know, but she had apparently Nicki Minaj or one of them. So you
No, no,
know,
no, no, no. Nicki Minaj has come out in support of Trump.
really,
Actually,
Actually,
But I
look it up. But I'm pretty sure Nicki Minaj has come out in support of Trump.
I feel like that would have been bigger news.
You think, right? You would think.
Oh well,
oh,
yeah,
I'm
you're
sorry,
right.
maybe it was Cardi B. I don't know. I get them mixed up.
It says rumors,
But anyway, at the at the
uh,
Trump rally, it was so funny because he
fake
went for like two
news.
hours. It was his third or fourth of the day, and he was saying he's gone 62 days without taking a day off, and it was so funny by the end because he's like, you guys know I don't have to do this. I could just be, in the waves, that beautiful salt water lap in my face. It's just like it was funny because he even called it out. He's like, but look, I don't ramble. I weave. And then you go here and you go there, but you always bring it back. It's like, wow, it was so
Yeah,
masterful.
I get it. That's what I do. I'm just gonna say that it's I
Yeah.
don't forget what I was talking about. I'm just building context to bring it back, and I call
A
it
lot of
building context.
context.
He calls it weaving. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes
So
though, I do admit sometimes I forget where I was at. Sometimes I weave myself
like
and
Sleepy
I
Joe.
forget. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I wander off like Joe Biden.
I like how Trump says it in his speeches. He's like, "But you gotta leave. You gotta come back. Because if you don't come back, oh man, you gotta be good at it. Like you gotta have a trap like it's a steel trap, a mind that's a steel trap. Because if not, then you look like Sleepy Joe off in a corner. Don't know where you were going."
So true though.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Yeah. Or Kamala. I mean, it's pretty
I
gnarly when
mean,
you actually watch her stuff she says. That one was so funny, dude, where she goes, everyone's chanting for her, they're like, Kamala, Kamala. And then she's like, okay, now everyone shout
Hold on.
your own name.
Wait. Let me just
Can we
play
show it?
that because
Yeah, can you play it, please?
that was hilarious. When you
It
said
was
that, I was like, what the fuck?
the
that
thing
was
is
fake.
like, yeah, I don't know. Is it? It's hard to know.
Is it what?
But at the same time, like what other reaction could the crowd have given to that?
There's no other reaction.
Like
Like,
even if they actually said their
Karen,
name,
Karen.
it's not gonna amplify. You know what I
Literally
mean?
yeah,
all
So
their
it's
names
like
are Karen.
it's he doesn't have like the basic understanding of physics. You know, would that be physics? That'd be physics, right? Or just like waves coming together. No, all right,
it's
just
just
me.
Definitely
so
doesn't
like such a
understand
lie.
sound.
Like go now, shout your name because it's really about you.
Yeah. It's like,
It's
oh,
such bullshit.
That is hilarious. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's too far back. I'll find it. I'll find it in a moment
well, we have a lot of good things to get into though.
for sure. For
Cameron, you
sure.
went you went on a spree yesterday.
Yeah, it was raining here, so
It was raining here. And then it
Oh,
snowed.
rain, not snow.
Well, it snowed for a bit. It was 36 degrees and snowing. It's like, damn, what is fucking
Jesus,
BlackRock doing now to the weather?
we know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, my bad. I already know. Project Cirrus. Yeah.
Okay, all right, all right.
I was gonna say back in 2016, like I knew Trump was gonna win. Like it was obvious. You could see the signs.
Right.
Like if you were paying attention, especially online. I remember I had this client at the time. I was talking to them at their house, and he liked Trump, but he was like, "Yeah, there's no way he's gonna win." I'm like, "Dude, he's definitely gonna win." And he's like, "What? What makes you say that?" Like he was surprised. And I
Hmm.
was like, "Well, I think the problem is," I said, "You're not online," because he was like older than me. He was probably like 50 or something at the time. And I was like, "You're just watching Fox News, CNN, all this stuff. You're listening to that, and you're not looking at what people are actually saying." And so then when he won, I remember he was just like, "How did you know?" I'm like, "Dude, like." So in terms of seeing it, it looks that way to me on this one. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and if you look at even just out of those two interviews, so Rogan's or Trump's biggest one was on Rogan. It has like almost 40 million views between YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah.
Kamala's biggest one has either 300 or 700K, one of the, but under a million. It's like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. It's
it's
and actually
but
that podcast they were making a point that that woman that call her daddy thing is like a really popular podcast. It's not like it's just some,
yeah,
I'd never heard of it, but it's like
it's
it's
in
for
top
women.
five. It's in top
Yeah,
five
they
on
were saying
Spotify.
it for a while. It was like vying with Rogan for like the top spot. So it's not
Yeah,
like some
Wow.
little no name nothing, for women anyways. I guess
you're
I don't know who's watching it,
right.
but people are.
Yeah. I mean, you just wonder though, because you see so much out there about these like like Trump's not
Dude,
showing up
okay,
on the first page of the thing, but then you don't know if that's real or not. You know?
last year or last election, Biden got uh in terms of what was like officially said, he got more votes than any presidential candidate ever in history. Obviously he beat Trump in the context of, I mean, I think there's a lot of bullshit, right? I don't think it
Obviously.
was legit. It's obvious, right?
Like there's
It's
no
like
way.
it's like it's
Like
so it's 1984, dude. It's like
Yep.
how do I explain it? It's like
every time I ask somebody, I'm like, okay, how many votes do you think Biden got? And they'll throw out some numbers, and I'm like, okay, here's like when Trump got elected in 2016, here's how much he got, and that was a lot. That was like that was a record, right? And I'm like, so how many do you think Biden got in 2020? And they'll tell me some number, and I'm like, okay, how many do you think Obama got when he got elected the first time?
right, right.
And always everyone's like surprised when I tell them what Obama got. And then I ask them again, what do you think Biden got? And they're like, okay, so it's got to be less than that. And then when I
Right.
tell
No,
them,
he yeah. Like,
they're
What
like,
what 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 was
it's
Obama?
Obama was like 60 something, 65 or something like that.
and Biden apparently got 81 million.
Yeah, like something crazy ridiculous like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
More than
like,
Trump. And Trump got the most for any sitting president ever in that same election, and Biden got more apparently. And and and
it's
here's the
just
thing: there's no Black Lives Matter summer before the
right,
election.
right.
There's no COVID. You know what I mean? Like what is going on right now? Like there's nothing that what people were angry about back then was the George Floyd, the COVID, the fear,
Yeah.
all that. What are they angry about right now? The only thing
Uh,
anybody's upset about is like the cost of things,
yeah, the
inflation,
cost
that
of
kind of
living.
shit. And obviously you got the abortion thing, but
It's just not plausible, you know?
no,
Like,
no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Like it's so obvious that he's gonna win. Like,
Well, I really like that Steve Bannon thing you had sent, his like first speech
yeah,
since getting out of prison, because he was like encour encouraging Trump. I mean, I know he's not advising Trump right now, at least not officially, but him saying like, hey, like Trump, if you can narrate it day by day, like what's happening for
yeah,
people, so it's in the light instead of like last time it was at whatever 2 a.m. all that shit came in,
yeah.
so it's like all eyes on it. So even if it is stolen, now it's like you see Elon put together like on with X some sort of election like report if you see election
Mm,
interference. So it's like all the things now in the system are also really able to see what the fuck's going on with it, which is again either way it's cool for us because you know it's like
dude, is
we
this
need
is
to
this
get the
not?
dark stuff out.
This is literally the apocalypse.
Yeah,
Like in
literally.
the truest sense of the word. Like that is what's
yeah,
happening. Like everything is being uncovered. Um, Even if they pull off stealing it and Kamala does become the president, I don't see how the cat gets put back in the bag at this point.
They would literally have to like shut down the fucking internet and like
Yeah,
kick out
exactly. And even
imprison. They'd have to
then,
do like mass imprisonment.
well, like shut down the internet kind of thing, like censor everything hardcore. But I don't. They don't put it back in the bag for the people who feel it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
Right.
like it's inevitable at this point. Like
Right.
it really shows why it's so important what we're doing because people are not going to know what to do. They're not going
Right.
to
Or
have a
it'd be like
plan, and it's
if Trump did get taken out, it'd be like they're just running because so many of these people are seeing Trump as their savior, which he's not, he can't be. But
yeah.
that's where we got to come in and then be like, look, guys, it isn't about there being some leader. It's about
well,
being the
who's the next
transition leader.
guy? Who's the next person? Like
Vivek
I know
maybe is
people
the closest,
that
which
he'll
isn't
never.
anything.
Yeah, it will never happen. Like
Yeah, or Tulsi,
yeah,
which both of them,
no, I
it's
don't. I
just
don't see it
nowhere
happening.
near.
People like JD Vance. I think he's more likely a person that could actually do it in terms of the personality and everything, the style. But like I was telling Katie back in like during the pandemic, he was tweeting about like nurses should be fired for not getting the vaccine or whatever, or being against the vaccine and shit. I'm like, and he took the vaccine.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, what that implies, like, did he suddenly become smarter?
No.
Nope.
What that implies is with how he thinks, he literally couldn't see that the pandemic was obvious bullshit.
Well,
Right.
dude, you ever hear him talk about his kids? He'd be like,
What about him?
so he gave this story on the Rogan podcast, and he said, he didn't know if Trump was going to pick him and all that. Finally, he gets a phone call from Trump, and then his son, JD's son, was in the background, like wanting to say something. So Trump apparently had JD give his kid the phone. And the way JD's narrating it, though, he's like, yeah, I mean, my son didn't know what was going on at all. He was just trying to tell him a joke. And it sounds like 6 or something. And he said he's like multiple times he's brought up, he's like, yeah, my son just wants to be a kid. He doesn't understand what's going on. I'm like, dude, like, what? Like, I get it because he doesn't know any better, but he just sees his
Normal
kid like
kid.
this little, yeah, this little like
Yeah.
dumb kid. When you
Hmm.
look at the kids in our community, it's like we're educating them to understand all this. I mean, Max has literally wanted to talk about geopolitics. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's going to be really fucking awesome as we can get more and more like taking over and getting public attention for what we do. You'll see the stark contrast between all these people who are currently kind of the cool in people in the system, like a JD or whatever, and it just is nothing in comparison to what we have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's
So I realize what happened since last week. So last week on Sunday was that Trump rally at Madison Square Garden,
oh
right? So
wow.
we didn't get to talk about that.
We haven't
That was
talked
like 2 weeks
about so
ago.
everything that's happened since then, which has been like this whole
And there's a lot to talk about there.
emotional roller coaster. Okay.
Did you just call it emotional roller coaster? Not emotional, just emotional.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just like
emotional.
it's emotional. It's there's a lot of motion with this roller coaster.
Yes.
So let's start with that. Madison Square Garden, uh, MSG, literally
Biggest Nazi rally ever.
okay,
Okay,
hilarious.
wasn't Dana
'Cause,
White emceeing it too?
Uh,
Was he?
was
I
it
don't
Dana
know.
White?
I only
Think so.
watched clips, so
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I have no idea, but I do
Mm.
know I saw that actually Christine had mentioned it to me. The first I heard about it, Christine was like, "Wow, MSNBC is like they're saying they're giving a fair, coverage of this rally, and they're literally calling it a Nazi rally." Right? And I was like, "What?" She's like, "How can people trust anything that they see on the news anymore?" Right? And they like the lengths that they had to go through to go like 84 years ago or 85 years ago, whatever it was, right? I'm like, but literally, I've been to Madison Square Garden. Do you know how many banners are up there of like, um, what's the guy's name? Bruce, the singer. Um,
Springsteen,
yeah, Bruce Springsteen. Thank you. I can't remember all these white people names. I'm sorry, guys.
also a
Uh,
Nazi.
also, apparently, like there's banners for how many times he sold out Madison Square Garden. There's banners for like Bono, for like literally, because it's like, oh, they've sold it out like 45 times, you know? And so I'm
Yeah.
like, so are you saying that anyone who comes to Madison Square Garden that is not literally the Knicks or
I know
whatever?
that's the thing. Yeah, I know. A lot of people are saying it like, what are you talking about? People have done this all the time. And I get that, which obviously makes it ridiculous and absurd what they're saying. But if you look at it from the perspective of what the narrative they were trying to create, it wasn't, oh, no one's ever been to Madison Square Garden before. It was the last time somebody came there and was all ostensibly pro America, anti immigration, da da da,
Right.
was the Nazi rally apparently back then. That got me thinking. I was like, dude, I didn't know there was a Nazi rally back in the 40s in Madison Square Garden. That's kind of crazy, actually. Like,
Al-
that's interesting.
Also, if you think about it, that's like,
During the
okay,
Tell
war?
me more about this.
that would
Huh?
that would have
During the
had to
war?
been before
Has to be.
before the U.S. entered the war, I would assume, right?
Let's
Because the
see.
U.S.
Well,
enters
What year
yeah,
was
probably.
the Nazi rally? Yeah.
1941, right?
I think they said it was in the 30s, right? I don't
1939
know.
it was. Apparently.
1939. Okay, all right. So U.S. enters the war 2 years after that, or shortly after that, anyway, right?
People weren't. This is. Oh man,
Oh
this
my,
is
hang on,
ridiculous.
hang on. NPR, the infamous, all trustworthy NPR. The headline for this is When Nazis Took Manhattan. In 1939, an event at Madison Square Garden was billed as a pro American rally. It was, in fact, a rally in support of Hitler and fascism. So if it was getting marketed as pro American
Okay, but
in
hear me out
1939,
though. Hear
yeah.
me out though. what do we know prior to Pearl Harbor? Were Americans in favor of war?
No.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. They did not give a fuck about whatever was going on over there. And in fact, even like leading up to the Olympics, where they're having this debate about like, should we go to the Olympics or not? Okay, if we literally felt the way that we feel like Americans are taught to feel about it now, there would be no question of like, we're not going to the fucking Olympics. You know what I mean?
It'd be like if the Olympics were in Russia,
Right. It
like
would be
right
like,
now, and you'd be like, wait, should we go? Or like, I can't think of another example to be honest, but it's like, yeah, like everyone's saying like literally Putin is like murdering Ukrainians and he's like the worst guy ever, and then we're gonna go to the Olympics there.
right, right,
It makes
right,
no
right.
sense. So clearly that wasn't the narrative at the time. That's I guess the real point.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is that like, you know, everything that we were told, and even when the Olympians came back, and dude, okay, the Olympians came back, they were saying, seems really nice over there. In fact, I got treated better over there than I get treated here in America. Like the blacks were saying that, right? And uh that it's not like because what they try to say is like, well, they created this town that was like, the Olympic Village or whatever, so that, there was an image that was presented. But what about the rowers from that movie, right? They didn't stay in the Olympic town. And they come up with some story. They always have some fucking story of like, yeah, well, the Nazis went in there beforehand and they, smacked
Oh,
everybody up.
you mean how Gavin Newsom like kicked all the homeless people out of San Francisco when Xi Jinping visited, kind of like that? And you mean like
That's a
that?
really good point.
But like also, why would the Nazis openly, apparently, openly be racist, racial supremacists?
Mhm.
But then also, when the black people come to the Olympics, try to pretend like they care, like they like them. Why would they do that? What
It
would be the
doesn't make
purpose of
any
that?
sense. It
Like,
doesn't
if
make
their
any sense.
whole purpose was to be like, we are racial supremacists and that's what we stand by, like, then they weren't hiding it, were they? Why would they then try to pretend also at the same time, oh no, we treat them with respect? And it makes no sense. What it shows is actually the idea that they were racial supremacists came after the fact to justify what was done to them. That's all
Yeah,
that happened. And
yeah,
people can't fucking read, dude. Like it's like I am only just about not just literally right now learning this, but like, as an adult learning all this stuff, learning about
right.
what really happened, and you're like, we were fucking lied to, dude.
We were lied to, and there are so many books out there apparently that have, a better account of history than what we're given in our history books at school and all that shit.
What have we noticed recently? Every time we talked about this with the Flight MH370, we talked about it with the just all these different things, right? Anytime there's like this big fucking deal made about something,
Mhm.
George Floyd,
Yeah.
it's like it's
COVID.
always COVID, right? It's on purpose to get you to see it a certain way so it can be used to manipulate you. It's not
Yeah.
because that's the way it happened. So it's what's the most important topic anyone can fucking think of is World War II. It's like the basis. I think I forget who it was that laid it out, but they were making this point. It's sort of the basis of our entire mythology of
Yeah, yeah,
Western
yeah.
Wow.
society
Oh, I
currently.
remember who was saying it. It was the guy that Tucker interviewed. He was saying that. It's like
Okay, yeah, the murder
it's
mania.
it's yeah, and it's part of our mythos is what he was saying. It's like,
Right.
you start questioning something like who's the one guy? Winston Churchill. You start questioning that, people freak the fuck out. And it's true, they do, you know? Um, okay, so check it out. Sunday that rally happens. Tony Hinchcliffe, that comedian, goes up there and he says a bunch of jokes. But one of the jokes that he says, actually, I think I have a clip of it. Can I just play the clip? Let me just play a clip of him.
Dude, you should play some of the clips of him roasting Tom Brady or Kevin Hart.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah. And I'll give some context too.
Let me see.
It is, though. It's crazy times we're living in. I mean, all these pointless wars. It is unbelievable what's happening right now. It is incredible.
I think it's
Ukraine versus Russia, Israel,
Yeah,
it's like bad soccer games. Who even cares? What are we doing? Why is our money involved in these wars? When it comes to Israel and Palestine, we're all thinking the same thing. Settle your stuff already. Best out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. You know the Palestinians are going to throw rock every time. But you also know the Jews have a hard time throwing that paper. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're having fun now. We're cooking. Hillary Clinton said that this is a Nazi rally here today.
I think I might
Can
have
you
missed it.
believe that?
I don't think so.
For the most anti-war president of my entire lifetime, and she calls him Hitler. Let me remind you, Hillary, it was your husband who shot innocent people, or as he called them, interns. Yeah, Hillary, I bet you did not see that one coming. By the way, if I commit suicide in 3 weeks, I didn't.
Yeah, maybe we missed it.
Yeah, I had to.
Just look
I
up
think
Puerto
it was
Rico.
probably like
Oh,
here.
you actually put it
Last night
there.
we had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys are. This is a groany little morning. Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want. All right. Heck yeah. It's a cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that? A lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys are.
That's his best
This is a
joke.
groany little morning crowd, huh? It's tough to follow this audition for
I
the
don't
next.
know where it is. That's weird.
Just look up Puerto Rico, Hinchcliffe.
I thought it was
You
on
can
this
see you can see
clip.
a style though. I mean, just like the whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is just like talking
But
shit.
he's being mild, dude. He's being mild here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let me see.
Just
Puerto
look up.
Rican.
Yeah.
Oops. Tony Hinchcliffe. Oh, nope, that's not it. That's not him. That's not him talking. Here it
Everybody
is.
talking about it.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. A lot going on.
Okay, so he made that joke. And he made all those other jokes. Right. But then after that,
Dude, when he was roasting Kevin Hart, he said when Kevin Hart's ancestors picked cotton, they're so short that they called it deadlifting.
which is pretty hilarious.
Like, I'm just saying, like, he's like, they're like, it's like the real roasts, right?
Yeah,
They're just
yeah,
like
yeah,
all out, like, crazy stuff, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
anyways, so then the narrative was this whole trying to make it like Trump hates Puerto Rico and thinks Puerto
Yeah,
Ricans are
and
trash.
and they were like, "Oh man, they called Puerto Ricans trash at that event." And then hold on, wait, actually, I wonder if I have it. I wonder if I already have it pulled up. Let me see. No, that's the other thing. No, not that. Not this. We're getting closer. There it is.
And then you
And
get
then
this
we
right after.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Okay, so you heard what he said there. The only garbage that he sees out there are Trump supporters or his supporters, right? And then he says the demonization of something is unconscionable. But it was edited in the transcript, released to the press to say that the only
You know about
garbage,
this, Mitch?
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah.
the only garbage was the hatred of Trump supporters. What? Who said such things about American citizens? That is not what he said. Like you had to add a lot of words to get him to say that. Right? You had to mix things around. Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
wasn't the edit. That wasn't the edit.
Oh, that wasn't the edit?
No, that's not the edit.
Oh, oh, oh,
What was
Okay,
the edit?
go back and play the clip. I'll tell you what the edit was. Go back and play the clip.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Tina is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
oh. Okay, what was the edit?
Okay, let me.
Oh, hang on, let me.
I'll show you. It's right here.
Okay, you got it.
He's looking
Yeah,
real
give me 1
bad.
second.
He's looking like
Okay.
one of those people who just needs to be in a hospital.
So you heard what he said. You heard how he said it. You heard what his
Yeah.
intention was,
He,
right?
he just needs a shovel.
So here's what the actual official transcript said initially, right here. It said, "This is what they wrote. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable and it's un-American." Okay. So then when they did it, look what they wrote. Okay.
Okay. His supporters. Oh, oh,
This is how they edited it. They just put this apostrophe here.
really?
Wow.
You see the difference? When the stenographer wrote it, this is what they wrote. And then
Yeah.
they went and told them they had to change it. They actually edited it when they published the White House version, and they put this apostrophe, which
But
makes it
that's,
seem like this
yeah,
is a continuation of this sentence, like his
yeah,
supporters' demonization of.
yeah.
But
Oh,
why would
wow.
you even say that? What? Think about it. Why would you even say the only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters' demonization of Latinos?
But his supporters didn't demonize
That
Latinos.
that doesn't even make sense. Well, they did. If you
I guess
recall
Tony
what he
Hinchcliffe
went,
is a supporter. Okay.
but if you go back and watch the clip, go just play one more time. Go one more time, because it's
Wow.
not what he was saying.
So interesting.
He
Or
wasn't
Puerto
like
Rico,
that.
where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Tina is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Okay, so he didn't go. He did, listen to the tonality of what he said after. It wasn't said in a clarification of like as if he realized he was misspeaking. It almost seems like he was misspeaking, but that's how he just because he's like does the Biden stutter. He's like his demonization. He wasn't. You could see there was no like, oh, I didn't mean to say that, and now I'm clarifying it. Like if you just use common sense of like in what it seems like the person's intending. It wasn't like the only garbage I see out there is his supporters or his demonization of. That's not what he was doing.
Right,
What he
right,
was
right.
saying was his supporters.
Yeah, the
His
garbage.
his demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. You see,
Yeah.
like the way he emphasized the word unconscionable. This was not a clarifying statement of the previous. It's like just look at it, right?
Right, right,
But
right.
the way they edited it, if you just read it,
Wow.
you didn't hear it. You read it, it's like, do you see what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
And like this is like the fine people hoax in reverse,
right. Well, Biden
isn't
never
it?
said
Hoaxes
that.
all
He
around.
said
They're adding,
apostrophe. He said apostrophe. We all heard
dude.
the apostrophe there.
Wow.
Crazy.
And oh, it's funny because I saw a. I don't know if it was a joke. Now I'm gonna look it up. I saw that guy Lionel.
No.
He's like this kind of very
Yeah.
verbose. You know Lionel, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lionel apostrophe. He I wonder if this was a joke in reference to that.
Yeah, I saw something about apostrophe. I didn't think twice about it until now. But see, like,
October.
and
When
people
did
don't
this
think.
happen? When did that statement happen, Drake?
I think it was Monday.
October, this got put out October 29th.
Okay. So this
And
was a
people
joke.
think they
Okay.
don't need a fucking high vocabulary
Why?
to discern the world.
Because I
Like,
didn't realize
that
it
was
was in
all
reference
vocabulary.
to this. Maybe because I didn't know about the edit point yet. He said,
Uh-huh.
"When do we start pluralizing with apostrophes?"
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in
Assholes.
reference to that at all,
Yeah.
right? But it's like the same point. It's like when these assholes, but it's just I thought it was just making fun of somebody's stupid grammar, right?
Yeah.
But it really shows you the like the technicality of grammar,
Mhm.
right? And like what it really, that little thing can alter the entire meaning of something,
Yeah,
Right. Right.
right? But isn't that crazy? That's straight up 1984 shit, man.
that's
Right.
really
Right.
interesting.
And then
But
Trump fucking ran with it.
oh yeah,
Dude,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
think about
yeah.
it. Anybody now who says he said this about Trump supporters at any point, you could be like, oh no, look at the official White House transcript. That's not what
Right,
he said. And it's
right,
like, yeah, but they made that after the fact. That's a reinterpretation of what he actually was saying physically.
right.
It's crazy, right?
It
I mean,
is.
that's like insane, actually.
Yeah.
So then somebody made this
Look,
meme.
that's Lionel. Yeah, he posted
Lionel
it.
Oh,
strikes
that's
again.
Lionel. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Anyways, he's just some guy I used to listen to a bunch.
All right. Then
I like
let me
that one.
see what else. Then we got Trump pulling up.
Trump literally shows up in a garbage truck.
To make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
Hilarious. Then you got, oh man, stupid
Then
Barr.
Vivek does a whole shift, like
Yeah.
actually doing like a shift on
Vivek,
it. There it is. Yeah.
Vivek's over here.
What are we doing
Like,
here?
I want to do it.
Okay.
He's like, all right, we're doing it.
Right up
Okay,
to
okay.
He's a little billionaire taking out the trash. This is hilarious. Dude,
Is
okay.
it on? All right, sweet.
But the
Lift open,
ability
and then what are we
of
doing?
these guys to just like, you can see why they're entrepreneurs. You can see why they're
Pull them
so
both out.
like, you know, they're really charismatic. They roll with it. Like, oh, you call me trash? Let me go take out the trash. Let's do it.
Doing it right?
Look, I'm wearing the best everything.
Pull this one back.
I
too.
remember. Here, turn off the audio on that
Sweet.
thing.
Yeah.
I remember
Pretty good.
there was like an episode of The Apprentice where they had to go out and like stand out like wearing a chicken suit or something like that, to like promote the chicken
Yeah.
restaurant they were doing or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
like somebody didn't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it just shows you like no, like that's actual creativity. And you would think, well, Trump wouldn't actually do that, would he? And it's like no, he just literally goes and works at McDonald's like last week. Now he's like driving around and he did a rally wearing that orange vest.
Hilarious.
Which look, it's all someone says, well, this is all just for show. It's like, yeah, no shit.
What do you think it is? Yeah.
That's how you sell. You put on a show. That's like that is the thing. It's not about is it genuine or not genuine. That's a whole different point. It's just like you're putting on a show. That's selling. You know, like the difference with the Democrats is they are literally lying.
Mhm.
That's different than like putting on a show. Like they're lying to you. Like they're saying we're going to take your guns, and then they say over here, oh, we're not going to do that. Look, I have guns, and if I had a gun, it's like no. Like I sent you that clip this morning where she's straight up like, yeah, we should do a buyback. We should take all the guns.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're just lying.
It's so funny too because the Republican Party or because of Trump's willingness to do that, I guess, then all you see all on social media a bunch of like women who are, they look like really, like they care about their looks and stuff, wearing garbage bags. Like, like and they posting these memes like showing up to go vote like yeah, I'm trash.
White trash. He's got the white trash vote. Man.
He's got the white trash voted for him. Dude, it's hilarious. It is so hilarious. Man, and again, man, there's just so much. There's so much. There's more that I want to get into. There's this other clip that I had pulled up, and it was unrelated to the trash point, but related to the point of like what you're saying as far as the lying. Check this out. Remember, you sent me this. You sent us this, and I was like, "Oh, we have to play this on the podcast." Here we go.
Oh yeah.
On stage recently and was talking about coming into the administration is RFK Jr. He said that Trump has promised him control of the public health agencies, HHS, which would be also, CDC, FDA, USDA, all of these agencies. Is that true? Has Trump promised him basically the HHS job?
So I spent 2.5 hours this week with Bobby Kennedy Jr. And it was the most extraordinary thing because let's face it, we've all heard on the news all sorts of sort of snarky comments about him. And I said, so tell me, how's it going to go? And he said,
let me just pause it right here because maybe it'll help break it up for YouTube. But also this point that he's making of like the snarky comments, we were seeing him, RFK Jr., that is, we were seeing him get interviewed by some like one major news media station, whatever, and they were just like really assholes to him. they were just like such assholes to him, where they were like, and you picked this person as your VP, and like he was running for president, and they were treating him like he was trash, which is really interesting because RFK Jr. Would it be appropriate to say he was like the darling of the Democrat Party? Like, as in, his entire family, like John F. Kennedy, RFK,
Definitely as a Kennedy, yeah.
yeah, like the Kennedys, they're like
The only reason anybody didn't like him on the left as of recently is just because they all bought into like the vaccine point, which is crazy because you would think that would be the side that would be anti, but it's like because the vaccines and the COVID thing was somehow against Trump, then the left likes it. So it's just totally insane. Yeah, I would agree with you. Like people on the left liked him previously. Like if this wasn't about anything to do with Trump or he wasn't getting in the way of the establishment Democrats, they would also love him.
Yeah.
Why don't you just listen to me explain things? And what he explained was when he was born, we had 3 vaccines, and autism was 1 in 10,000. Now a baby's born with 76 vaccines because in 1986, they waived product liability for vaccines. And here's the best one. They started paying the people at the NIH, right? They pay them a piece of the money for the vaccine companies. Wait a minute.
Also, okay, she's gonna interrupt here.
Let's
She's
go,
like, hold on.
You see how she goes, hold on.
Yeah, but literally, didn't we just talk about this last week on the podcast? I'm pretty sure, if not on the podcast, I talked about this multiple places, right? About how the NIH, we were seeing now, it was revealed there was fraud within at least 100 of their studies, and it was that they were getting paid to put out these studies and have a certain result.
But that's not even the point he's talking about.
Talking about.
Yeah. No, like they literally get royalties on the vaccines.
Yes.
Watch this woman be like, but I got those vaccines for my kids.
Watch us get this one taken down too.
You see how her job is like when you start saying something they don't want you to say. They're
supposed to interrupt you. Let's roll the clip.
It's so crazy watching.
Let's roll the clip. Here we go.
Let me finish. And so all of these vaccines came out without product liability. So what happened now? Autism is 1 in 34.
Okay,
amazing.
Neither of us are doctors. Vaccines are safe. RFK, I mean,
Why do you think vaccines are safe? There's no product liability anymore. They're not proven.
Kids get them and they're fine.
Why do you think they're fine?
But because they're proven scientifically to be
How about this? There was 1 in 10,000 people with autism. We all know so many more people with autism than had it when we were young. Oh, come on.
Okay,
I mean, his point is really interesting.
But
so here's what he
said. Vaccines don't cause autism, which is what RFK pushes, which is why people are concerned that he could get a job like HHS. And I don't even think
he's not getting a job for HHS. What he's trying to do, here's what he wants to do. He said, I want data. I just want data because they block the data.
But the data's out there.
Wait, it's not.
They don't block it. You can look at it. It's online.
He wants the data so he can say these things are unsafe. He says, if you give me the data, all I want is the data, and I'll take on the data and show that it's not safe. And then if you pull the product liability, the companies will yank these vaccines right off of the market. So that's his point. He's not trying to do anything but things that made sense. And look,
this is not where I thought this was going because
I spent 2.5 hours.
RFK Jr. is a vaccine skeptic. He pushes lies about vaccines, and I don't even think if Republicans.
Why do you think he pushes lies? Why you said you said I'm not a scientist and you aren't. So
but
he just wants
scientists
data.
say he pushes lies.
But scientists were paid to say he pushes lies. I mean, let's give him the data. I think it'd be pretty cool to give him the data. Let's see what he comes up with.
Okay.
I think it's pretty fun.
He pushed conspiracies about COVID. He had to apologize for tying vaccine questions to what happened in Germany.
Look how she's like checking her notes. Like I have to hit these talking points.
Vaccine skeptic. COVID conspiracy. Oh yeah.
He had to apologize. Anytime someone apologizes, it wasn't because they had to.
Hold on. But what does he apologize about?
During the Holocaust.
So
I don't think
comparing the vaccine mandate to the Holocaust.
Dude, they're finding the most triggering words of all time and just trying any last thing.
I like when we were watching this before, what you said before, Mitchell. You're like, her earpiece must be blowing up.
Well, dude, and this guy knows how to ask questions.
Oh yeah, he's like,
Right?
why do you
He's like,
think
what
they're
makes you think the
fine?
kids are fine?
He's really good. I like him. I don't know who
Yeah.
he is, but I think he's pretty good.
All
The
the
leading
things he
voice
said.
that anyone's looking
No,
at
but
for
here,
on
he
health.
said Roundup. Remember Roundup?
But you're
and
saying he would not be in charge of HHS?
No, of course not.
Okay, so he's not going to be
He's
like
not
an
going to be the
acting.
secretary. No.
Well, he couldn't get
That's not what he
confirmed,
wants
but would
to
he be
do.
in an acting position
That's
or
not what he
anything like
wants to
that?
do. I just told you what he wants. He wants to help get data.
You're saying he wants
so can
access to
prove
data,
things.
but that
he
would
just
be...
wants data, and he wants to prove things are wrong. And he says, if I can't prove they're wrong, that's fine. But if I can save millions of Americans' lives and make their lives better. And I think that's pretty cool.
I'm not sure
so
any
he's
data.
just trying to do it.
I don't think any data would back that up.
You know, it's funny though, listening to her.
I don't think any
'cause I'm
data
like,
would back that up.
you know, it's
Why do
funny.
you care?
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Right,
Why are
right,
you pushing
right.
so hard against it? Let it go.
I feel like I've talked to that woman before. You know, not
I
her
think we all
specifically.
have. Yeah, we've all
You know,
talked to this
but
woman.
like,
Yes.
like you've had an argument with her.
Sometimes
like,
they have a dick.
sometimes. But you know, women
Yeah.
can do that these days. They're totally.
Oh, true. Those are real women.
Someone was telling me, no, Christine was seeing a post by someone, one of her Facebook friends, saying like, you know, I got this feeling that Kamala's gonna win, and I'm rooting for Kamala, and Christine was telling me about it, and I was like, you know, I got this feeling because this person, she's got a husband, she's got a kid, and everything, and I was like, you know, I got this feeling that she's got a weak man in her household, like, like what in what world are you looking at this and going like, yeah, I want Kamala to win, and I just I have a feeling, I got a good feeling about it, you know?
Dude, it's crazy because like there's all these memes now of like this is why women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Right. And it actually is why it is what the problem is. It's not because women shouldn't be allowed to vote per se. It's just the problem of if you could just manipulate their emotions with a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
That it, and the thing is, there's no way that anybody who's supporting Kamala Harris, who's not on the side of directly benefiting, you know, like some fucking Mark Cuban guy or some shit like that, or maybe they have
Yeah.
blackmail or I don't know. Like I'm not talking about those guys. Like just like this woman, whoever you're talking about.
Mhm.
There's no way they've done the research that we've done.
Right.
You know, like look at how much time we spend and you're able to process. Like I can show you a video and like you'll be like, yeah, I get it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
But another person, they wouldn't. Like they wouldn't even be able to look past it. They wouldn't see how it connects. And they're just gonna go with the emotional point.
Right.
That's
And-
crazy actually. What you're texting me. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fucking yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, that's just crazy.
Well, you know. So it's funny too, because like, okay, Mitch sent this. Okay, so compare all of those videos of like the Trump, team
Oh,
basically
God.
all wearing their garbage truck gear. They're like out there, they're rolling with the punches. Compare that to Madam Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay, now I want each of you to shout your own name. Do that. Because it's about all of us. It's about all of us. And listen.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
That's so hilarious. Hold on. We gotta run that back.
Each of you to shout your own name. Do that.
This is like a
It
comedy.
looks like a meme, dude. It
It's
looks
like
like a
a-
meme. Like somebody
like,
made a meme where
I
they just,
swear.
those
Can you
ones where
scroll down?
This is a scene from Comedy Central. I swear.
you know those ones with
What does it
Green
say?
Jean-Pierre where they ask her a question and then she just immediately walks away from the podium. You know, like they edit it so it looks
Yeah,
like she
yeah,
doesn't want to
yeah.
answer. Like that's what it looks like. So,
Yeah. That Mark Cuban quote. She's a dynamic
yeah,
speaker.
it's like The Office. It's like seriously like cringe humor. It's crazy.
It's
She's a dynamic
hilarious, dude.
speaker.
Oh my
I'm
God.
burdened by what I'm seeing. Oh man, terrible. And so you think
Crazy.
this is, listen, she doesn't know how to handle the crowd.
She's
This
gonna
guy-
apparently get the most votes ever of all time.
We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be really interesting. Really interesting.
Joe
'Cause
Biden.
yeah, I think Poor Joe. He just wanted some chicken. He's just a little hungry, you know.
Poor kid. Why is
Look
that
at that
mom?
kid's
Why does
face.
that mom have her child near Joe Biden?
It's like offering him as the sacrificial, like, yeah.
Oh man.
Like
Oh,
she's like, Mr. President, I've dressed my child up in a chicken costume. Here you go.
okay. Christine was telling
Dude, it's like
me,
that story you were telling me from the Bible, man. Okay, sorry.
oh, dude, the Jephthah,
That was
dude,
nuts.
dude. Okay, so he comes home. Okay, so this is what I didn't realize
Nobody
when.
knows what you're talking about.
Okay, all right, you're right. Let me finish one point, and I'll come back
Go
to that
ahead.
one. Okay.
The weave.
Yeah, I'm weaving. Christine was telling me that she was watching this interview um on Alex Clark. She's the one who did the interview with the woman who was talking about daycares long ago, right? She was watching an interview with her, and she said she had this woman on who was talking about how she was abused as a child, and her mom was part of some like some leader in some satanic cult or whatever, where they did all these rituals, and she was abused, and her mom did this until she was about the age of like 8 or something like that, 8 or 10, somewhere between there, and her siblings were a part of it as well. And she said that being a part of this, like after her mom stopped, they just stopped talking about it entirely so that they could sort of forget, right? And she said her siblings actually did forget, but she didn't forget, and she remembers all these things that they used to talk about when they were kids, and all the things that happened to them that they saw. And I was just bringing this up because it's like there she was saying, as she was going through some of the events that happened with her therapist, as she's talking about some of these events, she realized just how um, easy it is to traffic children in these times, and that's what they were doing back then, is they were getting children somehow that nobody was I guess nobody was really looking for, or they, I don't know how they were doing it basically, but they were getting children and using them as part of their rituals and then discarding them, to put it lightly. And it was just so interesting because this wasn't somebody who's like a high ranking politician or anything like that. It was just something, I don't know the exact story of her mom, but it seemed more like a uh I don't want to say average person, but like somebody that you wouldn't point to and say, yeah, they're obviously, partaking in satanic rituals. It was really interesting because it wasn't like when we read about the guy from NASA, I forgot his name already. Um, but
Jack Parsons.
yeah, Jack Parsons. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It wasn't like him, who's like trying to go to the moon, and then NASA funds all this money into his rockets and stuff like that. It's not like it's Aleister Crowley, who, gets in with all the politicians and, all these people, and he's got the huge following, even though he's described as the most evil man or whatever. It's not like it's those people that you're expecting
Yeah,
it from.
just like a normal person.
Seemingly normal person, right? And they were doing the same thing, and they're, I guess maybe they're, you know understanding, because they've read about somebody else who apparently did
Well,
these.
dude, go on YouTube right now and look up witches.
Yeah,
You'll see, like, they're just normal people. Like, they're
yeah,
not like necessarily elite people, but they're like trying to do magic and shit.
I think that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that
Yeah,
they're trying to do magic, you know
right.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
you read books like, dude, when I was in Portland, I read all the books like Golden Dawn, all that shit of like, I didn't really understand it at the time because it took me time to process, but it's like I felt like there was something in it to understand.
yeah,
And it's literally teaching you how to raise energy to use it to manifest what you want. Like
dude,
that's what it is. I didn't really even process it at the time, but like that's what go look up Golden Dawn, go look up Aleister Crowley, go look up um yeah, Golden Dawn is very interesting. There's this book. Let me find it real quick. Golden Dawn.
By
I can't remember the
Israel.
name of the book. There's a specific book that I'm thinking of. It was by the guy who was the assistant of Oh yeah, it's just called Golden Dawn. It's called the Golden Dawn. Um, here
The
I'll show you
Assistant of
here.
who? I'm
Hold
just
on.
thinking of like,
Aleister Crowley. Here you
oh,
go.
okay.
The Golden Dawn. First published in Israel Regard. Yeah, I can't remember his name. He worked with Aleister Crowley. Influential modern handbook of magical theory and
4.8 stars.
practice.
That magic must have worked. Everyone's like, damn,
Um,
that's good.
Essential textbook for students of the occult, includes occult symbolism, Kabbalistic philosophy, training methods for developing magical and clairvoyant powers, rituals that summon and banish spiritual potencies, secrets of making and consecrating magical tools, and much more. And like they describe it in there, like specific processes, like rituals that you do to raise and channel energy and so forth. Like there's different demons that you can like call forth and shit. Like it's a whole, and I don't, and if you think about it, the people who were using it, they weren't evil people in the context of what we think of like as like someone who's trying to be nefarious. It's
Like a villain in a movie.
yeah, they're just like someone trying to use the law of attraction. That's what it was. But the person trying to use the law of attraction has no fucking clue. Like they,
Right.
it's like what the person trying to use the law of attraction doesn't realize is that they're doing some low level watered down version of a satanic magical ritual.
Yeah.
They just don't realize that's what they're doing. They're trying to
Yeah.
channel energy to manifest what they want. But like I got books over here. I don't know if I have any up here right now. Let me see if I can find one. Uh, man, I can't find it right now. But like, there's a book called if you really want to understand
Chaos
what
magic.
magic is, yeah, if you want to understand magic, look up chaos magic because it's the most easy to understand because they utilize the language of like quantum mechanics and everything like that to like so it's not the problem if you read Golden Dawn is it seems so esoteric. You're like, what are they? They're using lots of analogies and euphemisms and like words that represent things. But like if you study chaos magic, it's more like just direct, clear, like what you're doing or what's the point of it and stuff. But it's not trying to hide it behind something, right? It's like when you
Yeah.
read the book of Revelation and it
Yeah.
doesn't literally mean what it's saying. It's like symbolism to mean something else. So when you read like Golden Dawn and that kind of shit, it's all, and that's why like people couldn't understand alchemy. They thought they were trying to literally turn metals into gold, and it's like no, that's not what they were trying to do at all. They were trying to do magical rituals and channel energy. They just alchemy is the process of transforming base material into gold, which is like something more powerful, right? So they didn't understand that. People think
Yeah.
alchemy is just like some retarded like pseudo chemists trying to make gold. It's like no, it's not what alchemists were. They're something completely else. Actually, if you want to study that stuff, Colin Wilson, I've talked about him before. He wrote a lot about the occult, and he's got some really good stuff that explains it. So, anyways, that's
Wow.
just my little rant on that. But yeah,
No, because I'm looking at magic
so
today that's like really different than, the magical ideas of like, I mean, it's not that different, but
what do you mean magic today?
like because magic today or spells today is like, you can literally read the back of a ingredient list and that's spells. Like
Right.
like literally because if you can read that, you can see, oh, this thing here is not going to be healthy for me. That's not going to be good for my body, you know? And or if you can't read it, you ingest that and you're literally like it's like a potion that's hurting you, versus like, oh, here's a okay, as an example, your kids were reading that mushroom book, finding mushrooms out in the fields and stuff, and they're able to understand, oh, this is actually good for you. Like this has like anti-inflammatory properties or whatever. And so they can read that and then go out. That's like fucking magic. That's like fucking magic. That they can go and go out into my fucking yard and pick out a mushroom off of a tree and be like, hey, I've got some inflammation in my knee. I'm gonna boil down this mushroom. That would be like somebody. Can you imagine that in the 1200s or whatever? They'd be like, "Ah, it's a witch, a medicine witch, witch doctor."
Right, but that's what they use for medicine. That's just called earth magic. So that's like when you're using the physical things. Like magic is just
Magic literally
it's
just means
like
to be able. That's all it is.
here's the
in one
thing.
word.
What when people think magic, what do they normally think?
Like
Disney.
something for nothing,
Yeah,
literally.
Mickey Mouse
Like
with the hat on.
something appearing out of thin air, yeah,
But they
like
think of it's like illusions, like it's tricks.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Right. But that's on purpose so that we misunderstand what the word magic actually means.
Mm,
Right. So it's like
Yeah,
not
the
wanting you
magic
to know
tricks.
about that point. And so even the point you're making, like medicines, modern day medicines are magic potions.
yeah.
Like they literally are. It's not, you can't even, like if you look up the word pharmacy or pharmaceutical, it comes from that root of that word, right? Look it up, right?
Yeah.
Pharmacopoeia or whatever it is, right? And it's not to say that medicines are magical. It's to say that magic is not what you think it is. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? Actually,
Right.
a
Pharmacon.
great I can't remember
Hang
which
on.
book it is. Yeah, good.
Pharmacy comes from the Greek word pharmakon, which means drug, poison, or spell.
Right.
Look at that.
Why is
It's
spell in
funny.
there? Because it's like they're all, and like you think about what is a spell? It's just a set of words that you're using.
Mhm.
That's all it is. And
Dude,
the
You
like
realize everything's words though.
The Aleister Crowley being a influential person, it's like we're trying to put the blame onto him, but actually they're all into it. It's not even like they're into some secret thing. Like kind of like, did you know that the elite are into like secret occult stuff where they do magical rituals? I'm like, what do you think the Super Bowl is?
Yeah, or the
It's
Olympics.
not even like it's not even that it's some magical thing with a meaning other than what you think it is.
mm,
It's what it fucking is right in front of your eyes. Like, how do you not realize you're particip? Okay, what is the Catholic Mass? Is that
oh,
not obviously in your fucking face a magical ritual? Like anyone who doesn't see that's like, hold on, you're chanting some words and you're turning this thing into the body of Christ.
yeah.
Like that's not like, oh, did you know actually behind the scenes it's actually a magical ritual? It's like it's in your face a fucking magical ritual. It's
Right,
not
right,
a
right,
hidden magical ritual. It's what the point of it is, like on purpose, obviously,
right,
blatantly.
right.
So same thing with pharmaceuticals. Like it's an on in front of your face magic potion.
Yeah.
You take this thing, it makes you feel better, but it doesn't. It actually makes you sick.
I mean, yeah, depending on like if it's like a pharmaceutical versus like something your body actually
Reishi
needs.
mushroom.
Yeah.
Um, and like even like the Super Bowl or something like that is literally it's what's the purpose of it?
To
Yeah,
raise your energy up.
you're seeing people who have dedicated their whole life to be part of a game, and then it's all advertising, and it's a
But
bunch
yeah,
of words.
it's advertising,
Yeah.
it's the performance,
It's high
everything.
emotions. Like I get to shoot this like uh this command at you essentially, or suggestion at least of go buy this, consume, spend your
And isn't it
money.
Be
right after
entertained and consume.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Like
And
Yeah,
essentially, it's pretty
yeah,
much
yeah,
right
yeah.
after Christmas. So it's like,
got to
oh,
keep it
we're going
going.
into a low, and then you have this magical ritual and get it back on. Christmas itself is a magical ritual. I mean,
Right.
it's so obvious. So like even the idea of like, did you know that the elite behind the scenes are in these magical rituals? Like, yeah, they probably have their own things they do behind the scenes, but then everything in our entire fucking world is blatantly all of that stuff too.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like I'm just trying to get at this point of like it's not like it's just happening in secret or something.
Right.
You know, so even like this average person you're talking about, it's like yeah, people are doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But
But
they don't
anyways,
realize like the like the the magic of being able to like man, okay, we were talking about how your vocabulary changes your brain, obviously, right? But it changes literally the part of your brain that it changes is your occipital lobe, which is the part of your brain that interprets what it sees, right? The vision of what you see. So it interprets the patterns of what you're able to see, right? And I'm just looking at that of like, oh, so if you know, as an example, if you know the Latin that's used or whatever, the Greek that's used in, the pharmaceuticals, then you can see the pattern of like, yeah, this like it's sort of like when we listened to that interview with Jack Cruz, and he was like, when I read through how they were presenting this vaccine and they had BioNTech and they had this, I immediately said, there's something wrong here. Because you can see the pattern immediately. You're like, oh, this sticks out to me. Like it is a sore fucking thumb, you know? And you can see that just playing out through your life. Like you can see those patterns just sticking out like boom, flash, here we go. Versus, and this is why, you know, the meme of people being like sheeps or zombies or just like dull is because they can't see the patterns and they just go along with like whatever the mainstream is telling them, whatever they hear in the news, they're like, yep, I must listen to this. As an example, what we just watched with that guy and that reporter or anchor rather, and she's like, oh, but he's a conspiracy theorist and he did this and this. Like her job is to keep that lull going because if it's said on that network, then somebody might go, wait, I can hear it now. But if she's there to say, this is what you heard, oh, okay, all right, yep. Wow, they want a conspiracy theorist guy taking care of our health. I'm glad she was there to stop it. You
Right.
know? Like, yeah. Anyway, kind of going back to what we were saying earlier, uh, I have two things that I need to weave back in. I remembered them. One of them is this trash thing, because I didn't get to this point, which is the joke that he made is he said that Puerto Rico, he said like, oh, there's a island of trash that's floating out there. It's called Puerto Rico, right? This is from, when was this from? 8 years ago. 8 years
And
ago.
they're still having this problem.
And they're still having this problem. But they're basically what they're saying here in this video is that they throw their trash. Well, first of all, 50 of their landfills got closed because it wasn't they didn't know how to do it properly or whatever. They need to have better infrastructure for their landfills. They don't have enough money for it. Anytime that there is a hurricane or tropical storm or something like that, trash basically gets flooded in this zone right here that they've, highlighted just perfectly, exactly as I'm talking about it. That zone gets flooded and it has trash all throughout this canal, all throughout this channel, and that trash ends up in people's homes and makes them super sick. And that woman that they were interviewing was basically saying, hey, I had to move from my old place because we were constantly getting sick. We have breathing problems. We have all this stuff because the trash would just be like floating right next to us. And I want to move further away from here, but I don't have enough money to do that. And the situation is that the I guess is Puerto Rico still considered a territory? I guess it's not a country anymore, right? Because U.S.
No.
But the territory of Puerto Rico, they don't have enough money to fix this landfill problem. The amount of money that they need to come up with is like double what they can come up with, even borrowing money from or getting money from the federal government and their local government. They don't have enough. So this is 8 years ago they were having this problem. Still, every year, you can look it up, every year since then, there's been major stories about this problem persisting, getting worse, not getting better, right? And so it's really interesting that he made that joke. I didn't know about this until he made that joke. And maybe this, the fact that he made that joke might shed some light on this for a lot of people to actually get them the support that they need to change that versus,
So
oh
it's
my
like, do
gosh.
you actually care about Puerto
Right.
Ricans? Or you're like, how dare you insult them? Like you were saying they were trash. Like, do you think that that guy actually thought that? But it plays into the bias of, oh, they hate Puerto Ricans or something for some reason, And then there was the whole thing where they tried to make Trump look bad when he was president about Puerto Rico, and it's just like it's they don't actually care,
Yeah.
And that's the thing that it's there in front of us, which is that the Democrats really just want to import people that they know will vote for them, that are
Yeah.
low IQ, that are low information, that don't understand what's going on, and they're just being promised free money. That's all that's happening. But the problem is that free money is based on a system of debt. Somebody has to pay it back. That's the problem. And if we don't pay it back, you know what eventually happens? We have to go to war. That's how our fucking system works. So it's like all these dumb fucking people, whether they're women or men who are voting for Kamala Harris, think that it's about like that thing. I don't know if I sent it to you. There was this guy, and he was like, I'm a father and a veteran. I'm 41 years old, and I just voted for Kamala Harris to protect my daughter's rights. Someone's like, you're protecting your daughter's right to murder your future grandchildren? Like, what are you exactly saying? Like,
Right.
you see that meme I sent you where it was like the Handmaid's Tale women walking
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
voting booth and then coming out like, with like whatever they wanted to wear?
Pantsuits. Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody was like, so they're wearing the Handmaid's Tale stuff during the current administration?
Yeah.
Like what do you,
Yeah. Like what's the joke? What's the
it's
comment
all
you're trying to
about
make?
abortion. It's all,
Right.
dude, it's so crazy. Because did you ever read the Moat in God's Eye?
No, but I think we got that one actually. We have that on the bookshelf here. I don't
And
know
then
if you
there's
could
a
see.
sequel to it. I can't remember what it's called because it has two different alternate names, but um there, well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a lot about reproduction and so forth, and like a society. It's like another civilization that has a problem with controlling reproduction and so forth, right? So it's interesting because the idea that I would be so I would like I care about my daughter, but I'm not sitting here going like I need to vote for Kamala Harris so that my daughter can make sure she's able to have abortions later.
Right.
If my daughter's having to have an abortion, the society's fucked.
Yeah.
Like her education's fucked. Like everything's like messed up in some way if that's like having to happen at all.
Yeah.
Like are there going to be circumstances where it should happen or it can happen? Yeah, but for it to be like, what do people they well, I don't think they understand it and they don't care. Is like literally BlackRock is using the fear of not having abortions as a Trojan horse to stay in control. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, if they could convince everybody, which I'm sure they eventually would be able to, when there's too much birth happening, they'll just force people to have abortions.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like think about China, for example, where they were like, you can only have one child.
Right.
What did they do whenever people had more than one child?
They well, what the people themselves would do is they would like either sell
It's
their
like, we'll
kid
put you in
or
jail
kill
or
it
something, right?
or
They,
yeah.
they would do all kinds of crazy shit, right? So that's the opposite of what people would want, I would think. And then now you have, it's like you still have people buying into feminism, and it's like people still buying into the fucking pension Ponzi scheme. You know what I mean? It's like, did you not realize that's all done? Like it's all over. It's fucked. You're still buying into it. You're still
Yeah.
buying into feminism, and you haven't realized it's fucking empty. And all the women who have lived through it and are now 30, 40, 50, whatever, are like, uh, kind of wish I didn't buy into it. Do you have that clip? Did I see that clip of that woman saying that?
Oh yeah, 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 actually. Yeah, that's
See if you can
perfect
find that
because
one. That one's really good.
I was gonna play that. Uh let me
In the
see. All
meantime,
right.
let me show you this real quick. Already got it?
I have it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to pause it. Hang on. There we go. This is that clip that you said. This one, right?
It's pretty good.
I would love to be a stay-at-home mom. I would love to be a homemaker and a wife. I would love to be able to live on a homestead and go milk my cow and take the eggs out of the chicken coop and have one baby in the belly and on my hip and another toddler coming behind me. That's like my dream, but I can't fucking do that because the way the economy is set up is I'm forced to work. I'm forced to get an education, a higher education, a college degree in order to make enough money that I can be financially independent and afford my own home or my own rent or my own gas or my own groceries, my own insurance. And it's extremely difficult to do that. And it's very isolating as a woman when you have to do all of that all on your own and you can't find somebody that you can outsource some of those chores and financial responsibilities like you would with a spouse. So no, being a single working woman absolutely sucks. It's the worst thing ever. I hate it. I would go back to the 1950s in a second just so I wouldn't have to deal with this shit.
You're talking about a traditional nuclear family where the woman doesn't work in a married household with kids.
And statistically, that was the case.
You're a single woman who isn't married with kids yet.
Yeah. So I'm for because of the way it is. Most women were married by the age of 21 up until the 1970s.
I think it's a woman's choice. Before that, it was societally encouraged to marry young.
Yeah, and it was better for women mental health-wise long-term to be able to go into that long-term committed relationship and have the established family instead of being forced to slave away for a corporation that doesn't like you, doesn't care about you, makes you sit under fluorescent lights for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You get a lunch break, you get health insurance, but do you have somebody who loves you staring at you every day like your child? No, it's horrible.
That was really well said.
Facts.
It's interesting too, that point of like you have to sit under these fluorescent lights, but you get health insurance.
Health insurance.
Yeah.
Break to go eat.
We
shit
shouldn't.
food.
We shouldn't. You should only need health insurance for like a literal emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand why people have it right now, currently in the current context, but like most of what people use health insurance for, they shouldn't actually need any help with it. Those problems shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, like they shouldn't be getting cancer. They shouldn't have fucking diabetes. They like all of the major shit that people. And again, they try to twist it with the emotional, like, oh, you don't want people to be able to afford their diabetes. That's why we need universal health care. And it's like, that's like universal health care would be people not being stressed, people having access to good food, people doing things they enjoy doing, people being happy with their lives. Most of what people are fucking dealing with is like the consequences of a system that's just based on abuse. So it's like you're getting sick. It's no different than the Puerto Rico thing you're just talking about. It's like you live next to a fucking floating pile of trash. That's why you're getting sick.
Right. Like, can we fix
Your
the
life
trash?
is
Well,
trash.
no. We give you health care, so when you do get sick,
Right.
you can
You
afford
can
it.
continue to be sick, but just not die.
Right. Like, what?
Like, go look at the average person who's getting their money from healthcare and getting all their drugs and stuff. They're not healthy.
Check this one
Nobody's
out.
on prescription medications and is healthy.
This one, I think ties in really nicely with that one as well.
Oh,
Because
this is great.
the guy
Dude, look,
Destiny.
first of all, look at the guy's shoes.
Yeah.
They're goddamn Stars and Stripes high heels.
Okay? I didn't even realize that till just now.
And this guy, I like how it says he got cooked. This guy cooks Destiny.
Oh
Okay,
my
the guy
gosh.
wearing the fucking Stars and Stripes high heels.
All right, let's hear him.
Policies and Trump's policies, we benefited. My community benefited.
What? From what policy? What are you
Because when you
about?
bring in an unskilled labor population, they're going to compete with Americans who are also low-skilled workers.
Do you think that we have an employment?
You don't think
Hold
you
on,
don't
wait, no,
think,
I just
you
need
don't
to
think
get-
that
I
I
need to
can't
get-
pick
I
you don't
need to
think
get-
I can teach Maria or Juanita to pick up a pair of scissors and groom a dog's hair? Because I've done that before. And you know what? I can replace anybody. That's called being a low-skilled worker. And anybody crossing the border can do that. You don't need a degree. You don't need a diploma to do
No,
these
but
jobs.
we do
But
have
these
degrees.
jobs,
We're
these
not.
jobs,
America
these
does not have the
manufacturing
most
jobs,
productive
these
labor force in the
low-skilled
world
jobs
because we do
are
base
important.
manufacturing
you
jobs.
don't think these
If
low-skilled
golden-
jobs are important.
Then what-
You don't think these
It's-
low-skilled
we-
jobs are
we
important.
do
That's very
more-
sad.
We do more
That's
in the
very
United
sad that
States.
you don't care about
more in
low-skilled
the United
workers.
States than just base manufacturing. We are the world's most sophisticated
Why
and
shouldn't
educated
we do-
economy.
why shouldn't
because
we do more
because
base
you don't
manufacturing?
You don't have 50 hours in the day. You can do more than that. Why wouldn't we let other countries
The
do it?
reason
if
that
we can do more
manufacturers
educated work?
choose to go out of the country is because America has to pay for things like labor laws, employment, insurance, all these other facets. That's why these big corporations will go to places like China. I have a company called BYD in my backyard that brings in Chinese immigrants and pays them Chinese wages in America. And my representative, Mike Garcia, got that organization defunded because federal funding, my taxes
You think it would be better
were
if we
going
pay? So we
to
need to
a
just pay-
Chinese
so we need to
company
pay-
in my
yeah.
backyard.
So we need to pay-
I would rather
yeah.
pay American workers
$2 an hour to make
no,
products?
I'd
Maybe
rather
maybe your
pay them
company shouldn't exist in America. Maybe you should go to
$15
China and make your
an
company.
hour,
Go to China and make the company.
You
That
are
would be better. You should do that.
literally arguing to
Yes,
move
I'm
American
arguing that American
manufacturing out of
workers can
America.
earn more money than
You
they,
are very
no,
sad.
I'm saying
you don't love America.
Elon
You
Musk.
are proving that you
Elon
don't
Musk.
love America because you don't want Americans to benefit. You don't want American manufacturing to lift people out of poverty. That is sad.
But
Whoa.
I think it was really important what he said was because in connection with what that woman said, she was saying, I have to go get a higher education because I can't stay at a lower education level because then I have to compete with everybody else with the low skill and all that. So I have to go and get a diploma. I have to go and get a degree. And he's saying that's also a problem because like here, right, you're forced to get a degree and do some shit where now we're shipping all of the things that are manufacturing jobs, we're shipping that off to some other country and expecting them to do it for low labor, for basically for a lot less. And what's happening is it's causing it's compounding the problem. You can see how it's like, oh, wait a minute. Now Susie has to go get this high paying, high powered assistant or whatever they call them, but she's like working at this office doing this job so she can make enough money so that she can survive. And then that stops her because she has to go through this entire process to get to there. That stops her from being able to have a family at a young age, like how we used to, and things like that. And all she's focused on, all society tells her to focus on, is get a high paying job. Focus on your career. Go get a higher education. All this
That's
shit.
what you're impulsed with from the time you're a little girl, and they make it seem like that's the thing that you should aspire to.
Right.
It's all propaganda. It's obvious, like that.
Right.
Like no one can argue that. They would brag about doing it. Like, look, we want those things on TV. We want, the whole thing's fucked anyways, because they're making they're in the process of making billions of robots and AI. So now you start thinking, like, now imagine they're going to have this argument in the future, and it's going to be arguing about why are we letting the robots do the jobs?
Right.
That's going to be the fucking argument.
Right.
And say, well, but people are not going to, unless the money system changes, like, people are going to be fucked.
Yes. And think about it, like, because it just also reminds me of Joel Salatin, who he would say, he was top of his class or whatever, and when he would say what he wanted to do to his guidance counselor or whatever, they're like, "Wait, you want to be a farmer? No, you don't want to be a farmer. You want to work in some office, whatever." He's like, "Why is that the aspiration, to go sit in a cubicle, like drive? I want to be out and doing something, because there's wealth in the soil, right? But that's like been so diminished, where you got the money from the IMF, you got the way that it's done. I think we talked about this maybe off the podcast, Cam, but we talked about how historically farmers were some of the hardest people to persuade or corrupt through politics and everything, because they're like, look, I have my livelihood in my own hands, so you can't like bribe me to go, or somehow you have this shiny little thing over here that I'm supposed to aspire to. I don't care about that. I've got my livelihood. Except they changed the laws, and they were able to fund, basically, or subsidize all these farms that build this monocrop. So now,
what do you think is the purpose of the USDA?
Yeah,
it's to fucking control that point, and that's the purpose of all these agencies. It's like they're weapons. They're not. It's people should just read 1984. The problem is they can't read. But if you could read it, you could see, like, it's like a spell that's broken. It's like, oh, when it says the ministry of truth, it's the ministry of lies, actually. Oh, right. That's why they're calling it that. When it says the, Diversity Act or whatever, it's actually to make everyone uniformly accept one type of, ideology, right?
And he was saying this in 1948 is when he wrote that book.
Right.
And so he could see it then. It's like
it was happening. Yeah, exactly. It's been happening forever. And then we complain about the Nazis.
Right. Right.
That guy, Christine was asking, who is that? That's supposed to be some professional debater. That guy, Destiny, I don't know why he's called that. I think it's just like he was like an online gamer guy, but he became interested in politics.
Yeah, he's like a streamer. That's like
he was the guy in that debate. He was in the debate that Lex Friedman hosted between Norman Finkelstein and some other guy. And then on the side of pro-Israel was Destiny and then some other guy. Remember that?
No.
When they did that like long ass debate.
Well, he was in an open. Well, so on his Wikipedia page it says he's openly bisexual. He has a kid from a previous marriage. He was just married to some other Swedish streamer, and they were in an open relationship, and they just got divorced in 2023.
Surprise!
Yeah, it was like he was bragging about it like it was so progressive and stuff, and then she divorced him. Yeah, it's totally fucked.
That's how it always goes.
Hey, I want to show you something real quick, guys.
Check this out.
I thought this was pretty funny. Just to change the subject for a second.
If you're a billionaire, Elon Musk, for example, say, that guy got it. Michigan knows that word. Look, that dude got a tax cut. If you're a billionaire.
Why did he say that gay guy?
Why did he say that gay guy? Isn't he like open for the gays?
I don't know if it was like a slip or he was referring to something else.
Michigan knows that word. Michigan knows. What was that? That guy got it. Michigan knows that word.
I don't really get why he was saying that. Yeah, it was funny, right? But then Elon Musk, like, he called me gay and now he wants to touch my ass because then Biden said this.
Yeah.
But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass. But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass. But I'm serious.
Casey makes.
I like how it's Pennsylvania, Harris, Waltz. I mean, I bet they're just like, please stop. Just stop fucking talking. Please
I
stop
heard
talking.
something too.
Just
Patrick
like
Bet
that
David
smack in the
posted
ass.
something.
It's like your
Uh,
grandpa. You're like, Grandpa, stop.
Well, I don't know if it was true, but Patrick Bet David posted something as well where the Harris administration reached out to Mark Cuban to say stop, basically stop talking.
Dude, they should. They probably should. It's like, guys, just stop. We're almost there. We're almost stolen it. Don't worry. Like, let us just steal it. Stop. Stop making it so hard to steal. Stop.
Hilarious, hilarious. Okay,
Yeah.
so I wanted to finish one of my points. It was okay. Yeah, let me get back to this week. Uh the Jephthah story. Okay, so we were talking about the sacrificing children. This is remember you guys remember when we do every episode would be on the Bible, something like that. Well, we're going back. Or it'd be on like the Quran or yeah, we're going back. We're going back. This is in Judges. This is the story of Jephthah, right? Basically, he gets kicked out of, I don't know, of his family. Oh, he gets kicked out of his family. That's what it is. Because his father had him with some other wife. And so his brothers kick him out. And they're like, we don't want you around here. You go. We don't want you touching our inheritance. None of that, right? So he goes. And then later on, they come back to him and they're like, hey, you know how we exiled you? We want you to come back and we want you to be the captain of our army so that we can basically conquer this land like Ammon, right? And the Ammonites. And he's like, but wait, didn't you guys kick me out? Like, what's all this about? And they're like, yeah. Water under the bridge if you can conquer the Ammonites. So he sends some messages to the Ammonites, basically saying, like, listen, guys, you know what the deal is. We come through the land and you deny Israel, we kick your ass. Our God delivers you to us. And that's what we're planning to do, right? And the king of the Ammonites like sends him back a message that's like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you attacking us? What is it? This is an unprovoked attack, right? And so then he prays to God and says, listen, God, if you deliver the Ammonites to me, then whatever comes out of my house when I return, I will make a burnt offering of it to you. Right? And what do you know? The Ammonites are delivered, or they're basically he conquers them. He kills all of them. He kills their children. He goes on a fucking slaughter fest. This is this is the Bible, by the way, which says basically you could just if they're not Israelis, you could just kill them. I think that's why we have what's going on today. But maybe that's a different story, maybe, or same story, just extended version. Anyway, as we go on, um, so it says here, oh, the children of Ammon did not listen to the words of Jephthah, and then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah and Gilead. And from Mizpah of Gilead, he passed over onto the children of Ammon and made a vow to the Lord, whatever deliver without fail, deliver the children of Ammon into my hands. Then it shall be that whatsoever cometh. So I don't know. It says the Spirit came over him, and then he made this vow, right? Like he had that Spirit within him. Maybe it was the Holy Spirit before the Holy Spirit. I don't know, right? But he felt the Spirit of God, basically. This is the official, Bible. I'm just reading it from the Bible anyway. He smote them, killed 20 cities. Man, this guy is on a killing spree, as they say. And when he came home to his house, behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances. And she was his only child. I did not realize this when I was telling you the story, Cam. I didn't realize she was his only child. Right? Beside her, he had neither son nor daughter. And when he
Tell
saw
the
her,
story. Just tell
What's
the
that?
story because this is like just tell the story. The way you told me was way better than all this. Yeah.
Basically,
I like the Drake rendition.
Yeah.
basically, this guy prays to God because he's about to be let back into his family if he can conquer these people. So he prays to God and says, "Hey, God, um, you allow me to conquer these people. I'll offer you a burnt offering, whatever comes out of my house. Like that, that's it. I'll give it to you. Doesn't
The
matter.
first thing,
The first
that
thing,
comes
the
out.
first thing that comes out of my house that I see when I come home
When he was making this deal, wouldn't he imagine like the only thing that can come out of your house is a person?
has to be. But
Like, did he think like, oh, like
I
what did he think was
imagine
gonna happen? Like, oh, like his fucking TV. Like, oh yeah, I'll throw that in the fire for God. Like, what did you
I
think was gonna come out of your house?
I think he thought one of his servants. He was like, yeah, one of the servants. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
any of them, fine.
Yeah, there's no like high likelihood it could ever possibly be one of my family members.
But think about it, dude.
What?
Okay, when I come home, you know who's most excited to see me? My daughter.
Yeah, like
She
daddy's
fucking
home. You're like,
yeah.
oh,
She's
I didn't
like
think about that.
she will drop whatever she's doing. Like they'll be like her favorite thing to do is read books. That's her favorite thing. I'll come home, she's in the middle of reading a book. She'll drop it, run over to me, and just like she wants to be picked up right away. I don't even have time to go to the bathroom. Like I have to pick her up and take her with me to the bathroom. I'm like
That'd be like
running
if you're
in.
like, God, if I can get this deal, first thing that comes out of my house, I'll sacrifice him. And you're like, no. The first thing,
Yes.
it's like so retarded.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so what happens?
So then the his daughter comes out, right? He God gives him the
Wins the
deal,
battle. Yeah.
obviously, right? It said he had the spirit over him. Uh he goes home, his daughter comes out, and he's like, "Oh shit." And he's hoping it's gonna be like an Abraham story of like, yeah. God tells you go up on the hill and sacrifice your son, and then there's a lamb, right? So anyway, his daughter says, "Listen, I'm gonna go out into the country, into the mountains, and the word that they used was bewail her virginity. Basically, she's gonna let everybody know, I'm still a virgin. I've never been touched before. Just want everybody to know that. Yeah.
Why?
I guess to show how pure she is. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe she'd get some sympathy for God. I don't know. But she does this for 2 months. For 2 months, she goes around bewailing her virginity, right? And then she comes home, and it's like the moment is
She's like,
realized that
Dad, nobody cared.
nobody cared. Nobody cared, Dad. Yeah. Oh, okay. Think about this
anyways.
story though. So anyway, he sacrifices her, right?
Actually,
Just yeah, actually, he sacrifices her, and
show that part.
she dies. Like,
No way.
I mean, show that part. Show
Sorry,
the
honey, I have to sacrifice you to something I'm imagining.
All right. He says, "Alas, my daughter."
Hey, keep going. You sent her away for
Yeah,
2 months. Keep going.
yeah, yeah,
2 months. Okay.
yeah. At the end of 2 months, she returned to her father, who did with her according to his vow, which he had vowed, and she knew no man. He sacrificed her.
She knew no man.
She didn't have sex
Why is that relevant here?
because went and bewailed her virginity. He sacrificed a virgin. Bro, you hear about all these other,
Well, why does it say it came to pass who did with her according to his vow, which she had vowed, and she knew no man? Like you could have just left that part out. Like, why did it have to emphasize that part? That'd be like, all right, guys, I went ahead and I sacrificed my daughter also, and she never fucked anybody. Like, what? Why are you saying that? Like, it's just weird. And it was a custom that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah. Like, why? Why did they have to lament that? Is this the end of the story?
No, he goes on to conquer some more people, and he was just like really pissed because he killed like 40,000 people apparently. But then it ends right there.
And the Ammon, isn't that the thing? Like, what's his face?
Oh, in Hyperion?
Yeah, Netanyahu.
Oh,
he was referring to like the Ammonites. Remember, there was like a whole controversy where he was like talking about that, and they were like, "You're literally trying to justify this genocide over here. Like, you're using that language on purpose." I remember him saying the Ammonites.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Interesting. Let me see if I can find it.
No, it was
That's
Uman in
interesting.
Hyperion. There's Uman.
No, I wasn't talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Netanyahu.
Man.
Netanyahu.
Let's not
Ammonites.
let's not keep believing this stuff, guys. Like,
Oh no, it was Amalek. I was thinking about something else.
Oh, okay.
like these old stories of the past is literally just fucking pre-programmed control, and like it's just a way worse way of living. So let's just
I was bringing that up because that whole point of sacrifice for like it's been around for millennia, literally. Sacrificing children. Oh, people don't do that. Oh. There's a whole religion
in
based
the
on
fucking
that.
Bible.
There's a whole religion based on it of sacrificing your children, right? And if you think about it, it's like, why did he do that? Why did he do that? Because he was cast out, he was exiled from his family, and they said, "Hey, we'll let you back in if you can perform this feat." And he's like, "I would give whatever comes out of my house to greet me when I come home for that."
To be back with his family, even though he's now also okay with killing his part of his family.
Yes. Isn't that
bizarre?
But that is how people think. Like they're tempted by these things. Like this should be a story of like, don't give in to temptation. Like, why would you pray to God if God's supposed to be if God's supposed to be this benevolent being, this omniscient?
I think Old Testament. I think a lot of the Bible people have kind of accepted he wasn't this benevolent God.
Okay. But let me ask you this, Mitchell, because have you ever heard that God is never changing?
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. That's why Jesus came, though, because
so he's
Jesus
not
was God.
So Jesus is not God. So
no. Jesus was God, but Jesus represented the change of.
So he did change.
Jesus exist?
The change of the unchanging. So everything that he said before, it didn't matter if they listened to him or not.
Hear me out. Jesus. Okay, so Jesus is fully God and fully human. That's what Catholics believe. And God is unchanging, eternal. So then the part that's Jesus, that was God, must have existed at the very beginning as well. But the human part didn't exist. So how did Jesus exist at the beginning if he's fully God and fully human? Because his human part only came into existence when he was born. So the only part that was existing before was the God part, which would mean he would have been one with the Father. It would have just been God. Do you see how much? Let me show you something real quick, okay? Let me share my screen real quick.
It's like mental gymnastics.
Oh yes.
At a certain point, your vocabulary becomes too high, and then you can just.
Dude,
okay, I'll just show you this first. By the way,
hang on before you say that. Before you show that, because what Mitch just said, he was like, at a certain point, your vocabulary level becomes too high, and then you just like you see through the bullshit.
Yeah, and you can let it go though. That's the cool part.
But I remember what I'm saying to this is, and maybe you've heard this before, but I remember adults saying, "Don't get too smart." Right? Because then you won't believe in God anymore. That's the problem with getting too smart.
I suppose, I mean, because if you see this is a wicked world and that knowledge of the world is somehow going to like corrupt you, then
no, but
like I could see how you could try and justify, oh, if you get too smart, it'll steer you, like the devil would want that, right?
The thing is, guys, you have to get real smart. All right, because look, this is the Summa Theologica from St. Thomas Aquinas, right?
Uh-huh.
All right.
We can't see any of the words.
Who's got saint in front of their name?
Let me do it again.
Oh yeah, it was clear.
Unoptimized.
Clear at the end. It just needed a second.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Let me go back. It was optimized. I don't know.
Oh, right. That's clear.
Okay, yeah.
Objection. Okay, Article 1, whether in God the essence is the same as the person. It would seem that in God the essence is not the same as person, for whenever essence is the same as person or suppositum, there can be only one suppositum of one nature, as is clear in the case of all separate substances. For in those things which are really one and the same, one cannot be multiplied apart from the other. Yeah, no shit. But in God there is one essence and three persons, as is clear from what is above expounded. Therefore, essence is not the same as person. Okay? Makes sense, logically. Further, simultaneous affirmation and negation of the same things in the same respect cannot be true. But affirmation and negation are true of essence and of person, for person is distinct, whereas essence is not. Therefore, person and essence are not the same. Further, nothing can be subject to itself, but person is subject to essence, what is called suppositum or hypostasis. Therefore, person is not the same as essence. He says, and on the contrary, Augustine says, when we say the person of the Father, we mean nothing else but the substance of the Father. Okay. Well, here's what St. Thomas Aquinas says. The truth of this question is quite clear if we consider the divine simplicity. For it was shown above that the divine simplicity requires that in God, essence is the same as suppositum, which in intellectual substances is nothing else than person. But a difficulty seems to arise from the fact that while the divine persons are multiplied, the essence nevertheless retains its unity. And because, as Boethius says, relation multiplies the trinity of persons, some have thought that in God, essence and person differ, for as much as they held the relations to be adjacent, considering only in the relations the idea of reference to another and not in the relations as realities. Like, do you understand? Like, this is like fucking advanced mathematics. Like, how many people? What percentage of people can process this?
No, Kim, just have faith. You just need to have faith.
This is a philosophical. Look, this is question 39. That's the first part of question 39. The one God, existence, the existence of God. We cannot know what God is, but only what he is not. So to study him, we study what he has not, such as composition and motion, his simplicity or lack of composition, his perfection. And because everything insofar as it is perfect is called good, we shall speak of his goodness. Holy shit, dude. Look at this. That's just the first part. Here we go. Look at this thing, man. Like,
here's my basic question.
St. Thomas Aquinas had to like take all of Aristotelian logic and like use it to like create this whole work to explain what God and religion and faith is and everything. It's totally nuts.
Here's my basic question: was God the same? Is it the same God of the Old Testament that is of today? Is that the same God? And if so,
yes.
Then okay, you're saying that he condoned mass murder and child sacrifices.
Yes, of course.
And slavery.
Yeah.
Why would you follow that God?
So if I don't, he's going to throw me in hell.
Because if I don't,
he's going to fucking kill me. What do you think?
It sounds like you're following Satan, actually. Like it's just fear.
Whoa.
It's just fear that he's going to.
Satan was the one in the desert who tempted Jesus. Not the same.
I mean, it sounds like the guy who wants the child sacrifices.
I don't think we could all be duped, Drake. Okay, I don't think you could get millions of people to be duped.
You mean the guy who wants the child sacrifices is the one you follow? Oh, he doesn't want child sacrifices anymore,
dude. And then he sacrificed his child.
So he yeah, exactly.
Why are we not surprised?
So he makes mistakes, is what you're saying. So he's not perfect. Why would you follow that guy? He could be making a mistake right now. You don't fucking know. Like, come on, this doesn't make sense.
Or we can just go back to the basic fucking logic of, hey, as a human being, can I see that another human being has basic equality to me? And do I actually give a shit? And do I want to make sure that every human being can at least have an opportunity for success?
You know what?
That's what
you're bringing up a good point. You're bringing up a good point. Because why would people say you need to follow God or you need to have this religion, whatever? It's because they believe that you can only be good if you have morals or whatever, which only comes from God, which is like such bullshit. Because like, it's really obvious that you could like make decisions that are like, that doesn't make sense. Oh, that's going to hurt this person. That's going to hurt me.
What does that even mean that your morals come from God? So if God didn't exist, murder would be okay. Technically, it'd be all right. It'd be like actually a good, like, oh.
How would you know?
What does that even mean?
How would you know?
Look, God exists. He created everything. He's good. Therefore, you should only do good things. And it's like, so if God didn't exist, it would make sense to do not good things.
You know,
like,
actually, what it sounds like, it's like intelligence only comes from God, basically. That's basically what's being said.
Yeah.
What is, I understand why.
Because
things that make sense.
Yeah, things that make sense. Like you couldn't work this out yourself. It has to come from God. God tells us what's good or not. It's like,
but that doesn't make sense either because then it should be spelled out clearly, not open to interpretation.
Right.
And it is open to interpretation.
Well, dude, it's like imagine it's like
even the people who are like, no, we branched off from the Catholics. The Catholics had the true one. But go back in time, the church fathers who founded the Catholic Church, they were trying to figure out what it meant. They were like arguing about it and trying to like,
You know,
Otherwise, the Summa Theologica wouldn't fucking exist, and that was written in what, like the 1400s or some shit,
you know
or
what
1200s or whatever.
what I see it as now is it's just as made up as Islam. You know, like,
Yeah, no shit.
but like, but like, it's the same sort of made up, as in like, we know, okay, when you look at Islam, it's like it's clearly fucking you put together what was around you. You got together a bunch of people, you told them these were the stories, you got them to believe it, and then it became a tradition. It's the same thing, like with all the religions, obviously. But I don't know. I guess because I grew up with that one, like it seemed to be like maybe there's this like long historical tradition and these people like actually believed it. No, they made it up just the same. And even when they were saying it like, oh, this has been in our tradition, in our oral tradition for so many millennia, it's like, no, that shit was made up too. That part was made up too.
It's like each human being, it's like look at it just like a pile of bricks. And the goal is we want to use the bricks to actually build structures. But right now, it's like each human being is just a
Like
pile of
like
fucking broken
like
bricks.
Qatar. Like Qatar, how they build their buildings with human beings as part of the structure.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Wow.
Apparently,
I don't think we should do
apparently
that.
in Qatar, you remember that scene in 300?
I
Where they're
I
like,
remember 300, but that was
yeah,
in
where they're building
Qatar.
the wall and
You
like
tell me
they
in
have the
Qatar.
bodies. That's
Did
that's
Qatar
Qatar
model this
today.
from 300 or did 300 model this from Qatar, Drake?
That's
Because
Qatar today. That's
wow, that's fucked up. But it's like actually, it's like it makes so much more sense when you can see that is each human being is walking around with basically a broken mind, and the mind is just like bits here, bits there that aren't coming together, and so it's very easy for people to then just at some point get overwhelmed because there's no clear structure. They go, but God will just figure it out, or but this. And then in that moment though, they accept being less than they can be in that moment. And we could just all be that fucking structure and we could all interlock the structures and work together and create something better than we've ever seen before.
I
That's
have
some perfection.
a clip that I think really encapsulates this point.
If I died knowing that I did what was right or did my best to do what was right, and even if in the history books they said I did wrong, I would still feel okay about that. I care about the reality of privilege, not the perception of it.
The rest is just music playing. But like,
yeah, it's awesome.
Why can't everybody just act like that? Why does it have to be Elon?
Right.
Now the difference is people. It's like he knows how to manipulate the system, so it's like he's like some kind of a god because he knows how to play the game with raising money, et cetera, and perception, and
yeah, how to
right. But he's really just a normal person.
Yeah.
Right. He's just really good at selling. That's all it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's when I look at how crazy, how much information there is just about Catholicism. Just think about that for a moment, like that whole book, and there's like commentary on it and all this. It's like how much art there is, how much human shit there is, like how much time we're spending on stuff that
It's
actually
like a circle
doesn't
jerk
matter.
that doesn't stop.
But it's just like crazy when you think about how much effort and things that can exist. Do you guys remember? I don't know if you remember this, Mitch. Drake, you might. Like, do you remember that online thing where it has like they randomly generated all the pages?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that, right?
Yeah, it was like wasn't it like Tower Babel or something like that? Or it had
I don't
something to do
remember what
with
it's
them.
called, but
What
it's
is the
like
context of this?
it's this project where somebody, basically they said, okay, we're gonna use the computer and we're gonna generate all like the pages of text that are a certain length of text, characters, like randomly. So like just imagine a page of text, like a certain amount of characters, and we're just gonna randomly generate it and keep doing that and do every possible random combination that could possibly exist. And eventually it's a finite number. We'll get to that number. So, and then eventually you can keep doing it and be like, okay, now I'm gonna produce every 100 word or 100 page book that could possibly exist. That's just random. So most of it's just going to be totally unintelligible, right? But there'll be entire copies that would be like all like an entire novel, like 1984, but with like one letter spelled differently. If you think about it logically,
Yeah,
right?
2 or 3.
You found it. You find it?
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, it is Larry Bell. You're right. Okay. I
Yeah.
thought it wasn't. Okay.
Yeah.
But
You were
like,
literally, Cameron, you were literally, when I met you guys in Denver on the Sunday when we were all leaving, you were literally explaining this to, I think, Rebecca and Elisa. So I remember you saying that and it stuck with me. I was like, wow, that's fascinating.
All right, let's see how many times
that's
this
too
took.
easy. That's too easy. That's too easy.
Look, it's an exact match with random characters.
No,
that's
hold on. Go
wild.
back. Okay, type in Joe Biden is going to drop out of the race. Period. Kamala Harris is going to be anointed. Period. And Trump will work with Elon Musk.
Exact match.
Right? Now click on that page. Click on the bottom, the middle one, the one below that. I mean, what happened? Yeah, the one. Yeah. Look, there's a page right there. It's a page 195 to 410 of some particular set that they created, right? And it's already there. Like this was already printed. Like you could download this onto your computer and search it. It's not like being generated in real time. Look at that.
So you're saying, okay, could it be
There's a page right there of random characters that in the middle of it says Joe Biden's going to drop out of the race, Kamala Harris is going to be anointed, and Trump will work with Elon Musk.
That is so weird.
Think about that for a second.
With random English words.
It's just such a big
Look, with random English words. Okay, here's random words.
Ballots, broad beans.
Broad beans, perfoliation, proceeds, supersedes, Look, camouflaging multiculturally. Joe Biden is going to drop out of the race.
That's pretty hilarious.
So you could do with anything. You could be like Tony Him's just going to make a bad joke, and Kamala Harris is going to exploit it, and it'll be there.
Yeah, the world actually becomes best for all.
It has to be there. Just put like Destiny is, Bernard Pullman creates Destiny. I mean, I'm just saying, like it's all going to be there.
And the system has changed.
And the system has changed.
Yeah.
It'll be best for all.
Yeah.
What's else?
Error does not exist.
Look, dude, go down, scroll down. Let's see what the options are with random English search. Look, there's actually a page that has the title. Yeah, but do the random English words one, just so people can see it. There it is, right there. Just happened to be like right in the middle.
Gamester candle holders.
Right, it's right after coleslaws. I didn't even know that coleslaw could be pluralized.
Resynthesized.
Wow. That is so crazy. So
doesn't that just kind of put things into a different perspective for you, like of like reality?
Can you like elaborate on that, like just for the average person who did not fully process that point?
What, the explanation of it, or what do you mean?
Yeah. How, like, essentially the amount of outcomes that can come from this thing is almost infinite, but it's not technically infinite. It is finite. That's what makes it.
If it wasn't infinite, they couldn't have actually produced them all up front.
Yep.
Sorry, if it wasn't finite.
Yeah. If it wasn't finite.
If it was infinite, they couldn't have already made all of them. So I would know for sure it would be in there. It would have to be like, well, did they make the one that happened to have that one yet? But it is finite, right? And then they're trying to expand it, so that it's like, oh, you can have a whole novel or something. You could have a whole 100-page novel that literally has all the exact same words as 1984 or whatever, any other novel that same length.
So there's also going to be one about Bernardo Pullman, who created The World Will Be Best for All.
Right. Nope, there is. I know there is. I don't have to guess. I could literally be like,
you're right. Makes sense.
Mitchell Snyder on November 3rd asks, will there be a Bernardo Pullman one? And it'll be there. That exact sentence will be there.
That is so weird.
What did you have for breakfast today? Anybody go do it? We've done this before, but it's always fun to because not everyone watches every episode. But go in
And then
there
we
and
have
go in there
literally
and just
every single word in the English language for breakfast. Like, what did I have for
Katie,
breakfast? Question mark. That next word, there's literally every single word would
right.
come next.
Katie's like, you guys did a whole podcast.
Yeah, we've done this before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I just want you people to see this, like how what does that kind of how does that make you feel? What do you think about reality when you realize now does that mean you don't have free choice? Because the idea that God knows everything you're going to do, that book knows every single thing you're going to do. If you can put it into a certain number of characters, it knows
Yeah.
you're going to do it. Does that mean you have free choice or no? Are you choosing?
God, she's
Like
one
for
of us.
God to know
And which one are
everything.
you? Which one are you reading? Which one are you
If you
living?
think about it, if God is just all reality, which I mean, even if you go into the technical definitions of Islam or Christianity or whatever, that is what God is. If you read that St. Thomas Aquinas, it's like God is just all of reality. That's what God is. It can't be anything other than that. And even what we are is that we will be within that. So I mean that is technically true, right? Like, is there such a thing as all of reality?
Yeah.
Obviously. And are we embedded within that and in it and part of it? And so that God obviously exists, and that God obviously by definition knows everything.
Yeah.
In the same sense that set of books knows everything.
Right.
That doesn't mean it knows it like in an intellectual way, but it knows everything. Like there is a finite reality, like it exists, and every hair on your head is counted, meaning it actually has a place, and they're there, and like it could be counted.
Yeah.
But people then ascribe all of this meaning to that. That's really emotional in nature, and it's based on the fact that you grew up in a system that wasn't best and abused you, and you're looking for this reality to be your savior instead of understanding your actual relationship to it.
Okay, so here's a real trippy idea then. Let's say out of all these, right, there's one where it says the system has changed, and the world becomes best for all. But then we forget and we loop back. But there could be another one that's the world is best for all for real, and we don't loop back.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
There's
Isn't that the goal of best for all is to then not loop back?
Mitch, have you ever read the book The Alchemist?
Yeah.
You remember there's like a part in that
12
book.
years ago, but yeah.
Yeah. It's an enjoyable
Did you
book.
know Paulo Coelho goes to fucking Davos? Okay, did you know that?
I did not know that.
I've never read that book, by the way.
You've never read the book. It's an enjoyable book. It's a really fast read. Like you can read it in an hour.
Okay, Max could read it in like probably 18
Not
minutes.
selling me on it.
I'm not trying to sell you on it.
I don't care if it's enjoyable. I want to know what's the point of it.
It's basically the story of some farmer. He's a shepherd. He's a shepherd. He's a shepherd. And he goes traveling through different lands or whatever, and he learns about alchemy, about like basically turning metal into gold. But when he's learning about it, he's learning like these secrets, and there's this phrase that's used that's basically that, and this is what was relevant to what you were saying as far as like the knowing thing, that people ascribe some sort of emotion to it. The phrase that's used is like that people used to know what these symbols meant. That people used to know like, oh, when you get here, you perform this, or this is said, or whatever. People used to know what that meant. And then as the years passed, the interpretation of it got muddled. And so now people they don't know how to interpret what they're seeing in front of them. And it's the same thing of like, I'm not saying that people used to know, but like you were saying earlier with alchemy, it was a metaphorical thing. It was not like we're actually going to turn lead into gold. It was a metaphorical, here's how you can turn lead into gold. Like here's how you can turn. Go ahead.
Let me show you this real quick, guys. Okay. Check this out. It's relevant. I just looked it up. So this is from the Golden Dawn, right? The lesser ritual of the pentagram. Okay. So they see the pentagram. It's like, oh, Satan, we're gonna kill everybody or something. It's like, okay, look. This ritual is highly dynamic, using gesture, visualization, and the pronunciation of certain words of power, combining prayer and invocation, as well as clearing and preparing a space for further magical or meditative work. The banishing ritual is perceived as banishing any chaotic or impure forms from the magician's circle by tracing pentagrams in the air and by the power of certain divine names. It's followed by an evocation of the archangels ruling the elements to fortify and guard the circle. These archangels are connected to the classical elements via the astrological symbolism. Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel. The symbolism connects Michael with the astrological blah, blah, blah. Right? Like, do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, that's what they're fucking doing.
Mhm.
Look, Kabbalah, the pentagram, they're clearly not anti-Christian. They're like evoking the archangels. They must clearly think they have some kind of power.
Oh, that's funny.
You see what I
There's
mean?
Yahweh in there.
Have you guys ever seen
That's what I'm
this?
saying. Because these people understood what the angels really was. They, to a certain degree. Like when you study Destiny, you realize, oh, God is just fucking Anu. And like the angels are literally just
Have you guys ever seen this?
yeah, I've seen this stuff.
Say what? Pennsylvania Avenue.
I don't know, man.
Jake,
Like,
didn't you do tours in this?
but
Yeah.
look at the right one. Look at the one on the right side. Where's it going to?
Mount Vernon Square.
Yeah,
It's like a
but
statue.
it's not
You could literally
exactly
have
a
put that
perfect.
anywhere though. I don't know. Like yeah. Maybe they couldn't make it too perfect because then it would be obvious. Oh, like you're saying there's
Go to
something
maps.
specifically there that it's pointing at.
Go
Okay,
to the
that's fair enough.
maps. Go to the maps. I want to see it from above. No, go back to where you were. Mount Vernon Square. Go to maps.
This one.
Jeez.
All right, moment of truth. Here we go. Let's see the pentagram
Oh,
original.
actually, I can see it. I can see it. Look, you can see. No, go zoom out a little bit, just a little bit to the left there. There's
You gotta
the
see it as a
the-
pentagram.
This city was
Yeah,
like
fair
actually
enough.
mapped out by Freemason.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, dude, if I built a city, I'd put some fucking cool symbols in it.
But what I'm trying to say, like the idea that the pentagram is like the devil,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
it's just
no,
a
like they're
symbol.
invoking the angels. So they're not just invoking Satan; they're invoking the angels too. So they're not being honest about that.
Oh,
Not
dude,
realizing like
it's a Carnegie Library and an Apple Store. Let's
No,
go.
no. Then you're too far to the right. You gotta scroll it back up.
Oh,
Back up. I know you're in the right spot actually.
I see
You're in the
here.
right spot.
Hang
Yeah.
on. This is like some Da Vinci Code shit. Mount Vernon. Oh, Chinatown. Chinatown did make
It's
the cut.
Farragut
guys.
Square. It's Farragut Square that runs through there. Yeah. And the White House is okay, so the White House is seated at the point here. Okay. Wow.
Kind of makes sense. And
Yeah,
then I
no,
mean,
it
you
does
look
make
at the
sense.
symbolism here with this thing. Oh,
Yeah.
Major Jackson. I don't know how they didn't take that one down yet.
Yeah.
what's
No,
wrong with
that's
Andrew
interesting.
Jackson?
Isn't he like a Confederate?
No,
He
he was
represented
not a
the South.
Confederate. He was a president. He was a president, but he was a pretty badass president. He was apparently, oh, dude, I looked into McKinley a little bit, President McKinley. And apparently all the things that we talk about with the Rough Riders and Theodore
part of that?
Roosevelt, not exactly. Theodore Roosevelt took credit for a lot of the things that Andrew McKinley put in place.
William McKinley?
Yeah.
Oh,
William
yeah, because
McKinley,
McKinley
sorry.
got assassinated. Then Roosevelt came in right away.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. Theodore Roosevelt was his protege, essentially, right? But Theodore Roosevelt, apparently, what his kids said about him was like he was the bride at every wedding and the dead person at every funeral or whatever. Basically, he had to be the center of attention is what they were trying to say.
Oh.
Like he always like
Yeah, I mean, see that mustache?
I mean, come on.
Yeah, he had
But-
that swagger.
But like even his kids felt that way about him. Like we can't take him anywhere because he's just going to be so dramatic. He's going to make it all about himself. All this stuff.
Here, check this out, guys. Here's the 1 degree through 10 degrees Zelator initiation ritual.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but like they tell each person in the role like what their robes are and shit. Gold shoes, white color, scepter, da da da. Look, here's the diagram. Right, here's what they do. The opening of it, the
You know, it's
advanced.
like some kids get really
Let
into
me enter the
Pokemon.
portal of wisdom. I will.
Imagine elite kids, instead of getting into Pokemon, they get into this.
Look
Like
at this.
trading
Give me the
cards.
word. Done. Give me the password. Done. Look at this shit, man.
You know what this is like? This is like
Look,
watching a
Hebrew.
play.
Right. Something about
Wow.
Hebrew there.
Wow,
Hiram.
that's like kind of like I see it in a different light. Like that could be fun. I could see this as being like a fun thing.
You guys, I know
like
what we're doing at the ranch reunion.
But doesn't it make
Except
you
we're
see
doing it with
like,
cowboy hats on.
doesn't it make you see like
Milk the cow. Okay.
Super Bowl, like the Super Bowl?
right.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and then we do this, and then this person comes on, and then you do that, and then
Right.
they play the national anthem. Okay,
It's a
check
show.
this out. I have another
It's
one
a
for you
fucking
guys.
show. It's a
You'll
show
love
that
this.
everyone can sell themselves, like you were saying earlier.
You'll like this one. Do you ever read Carlos Castaneda?
Yeah,
No.
of course.
You'll love this.
What do you mean
I'll
no?
just skip through it.
Tensegrity is a cool idea, though.
Lobster strike.
What does that mean?
The second movement is a minor movement. Lobsters strike. A layer of sensations prior to sensations of man is reached with this movement. The strike has to come all the way from the kidneys. It is a vibratory movement that shakes the entire body. This type of vibration keeps the body in an optimum state of well-being. The position of the arm is that it's bent at a 45-degree angle.
Here's the ball of energy.
Tendon.
A major movement.
Yeah.
The third movement is a major movement, the ball of energy.
You put some rave music in the background. All right.
Okay. All right.
Have you guys ever heard of, what is it? How do you spell it? I'll have to look it up while you're talking. Go ahead. I have to find it.
Hang on, no, because while you're sharing that, I was like, oh, I've seen this before. This is really cool. Like I can't play the sound because it'll definitely get taken down. But
I don't know what this is.
this is a song by Louis Cole. And this is the preheaters. The first movement is a minor movement. The preheaters.
Billie Eilish on the right, and is that Gian in the middle?
The second movement, the third movement is a major movement. The Pfizer boogie.
Exactly.
Oh, damn.
That's hilarious. I didn't realize that was the Pfizer boogie.
Under oath.
This is
I've never
serious.
heard of this.
Ridley Scott.
This is essentially
Is the
same
alien
thing.
jumping out? Is that what
Yeah.
type in Ridley's?
You have to have the movement come from your chest.
That Pfizer
That love
boogie was sus.
This is so funny.
Bringing
That's what
back
that
the
reminded me
future.
of.
Okay,
She's
here we
dressed
go.
the same
Here,
way.
hold on. So here you go. Okay.
Did
Tai Chi.
yeah. I think you're slowing down though.
There's
You're
not
in
enough
it.
Tai Chi flow, Cameron.
Yeah.
Cameron, I think that will fix your Starlink. Okay?
Cameron needs to do some
you need to do
massive
those
Tai Chi.
moves near your
Hi, I'm Lee
Starlink
Holt.
receiver.
Just let your body unwind. Release any. You feel that shift in your energy. Maybe your hands are tingling.
Okay. Do you see my point though? Just like your energy, channeling energy, moving energy. That's no different than the fucking Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is just like at a mass scale. You're getting everybody to do the same shit and you're moving energy, which makes the economy move because the money is based on energy. And like the whole thing is like, what is
Dude,
magic?
that was what
actually?
Trump was doing at his rallies. And then at the end, he does his little dance move for like fucking 5 minutes. I'm watching Secret Service. They're just like, bro, you gotta get the fuck out of here.
Dude, if he becomes the president after this, right? It's like, dude, he literally went and worked at McDonald's. Like that's crazy, actually. If you think about what he went through to get to it,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like has that ever happened before? It's something like that.
That's a massive.
Oh,
See, okay, see, I
like
get
his
it. I get
his
it.
ability to catalyze
He's using the energy in a way of like I'm a billionaire and I have to go work at McDonald's. I have to fucking get on a garbage truck and like he's got to go through that as far as his energy thing. And then Kamala Harris, she's trying to do a different route. She's trying to go through and embody the energy of like the clothes that she's wearing.
Right.
You know, it's like I gotta embody the leader that used to wear this.
Yes.
Dude, hey, check out. Oh, this is an unfortunate picture of Kamala that I
I
found.
didn't know Caitlyn Jenner was on Trump's side.
Caitlyn
That's so
Jenner,
funny.
fucking. Remember she ran it? Oh my God, I said she. Sorry.
Wow.
It.
That one.
This is not Caitlyn, by the way. This is just so you know. I wouldn't want you to get confused.
Isn't it just a total mind fuck? Because it's like you don't want to say he, because you're like, well, then I'm like, it doesn't make sense. But then you don't want to say Caitlyn either, and you're like, well, but I have to. That's the person's name now, and it's just like so. It just puts you in a whole fucking mind fuck.
Yeah.
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 Seriously.
Dude, you know what I should have pulled up? That image of that woman who does all the plastic surgery that you sent. The Catwoman. Actually, let me see.
I thought that was fake, dude. I really thought that was fake.
Oh, and they were like, whatever her name was, like Francine, or they're like, you're most beautiful woman in the world, Francine. Like the fucking paparazzi guys, you're just like,
Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
Oh, there she is.
There she is.
You're not watching, you have to watch this.
Jocelyn, you're so beautiful, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
You're the most beautiful woman. Play the sound.
Is that?
Jocelyn. Let's go in together.
Photo à côté tous les deux.
How are you? Je vais très bien.
You're the most beautiful woman in the world, Jocelyn. Faut avoir un bisou?
I didn't know they saw something.
Merci beaucoup. That dude.
Qu'est-ce que vous portez?
Alors, monsieur explique ce que je porte. Un pantalon à la
Yes. Chanel, Coco Chanel.
et le ceinture.
Okay. Is there?
J'ai fait un petit mélange.
She's just transitioning, guys.
Dude, what the fuck, man?
She's transitioning into a monster.
Like Katie was telling me, because I was like, what the hell? Does she look in the mirror and be like, I'm so beautiful? She's like, no, it's like once you start doing it, you have to keep doing it. You have to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure it's like an
Because otherwise it just falls apart.
I'm sure it's
No,
like
it falls apart.
Oh, I thought it was like you start peeling, like at one.
No, maybe there's an addiction too, but I think it's like if she'd stop, it would just be like blah, blah, and look nasty.
Imagine.
Let's see what else I got over here. Oh, I had another thing of Kamala. What's your message to Michigan voters on the economy?
Oh boy.
What's your guess of what she says?
Something about middle class.
To Michigan voters in terms of the economy, we have auto workers who are being laid off and those who fear that they might be laid off. The average person can't afford groceries or their rent. And recent polls in Michigan show that Michigan voters believe that Donald Trump would do a better job with handling the economy and bringing jobs back. What do you say to that?
Well, let's start with this. I come from the middle class, and I'll never forget where I come from. My mother worked very hard.
Geez.
She, by the time I was a teenager, was able to save up for our first home. And I understand.
Okay, actually.
Oh. She's so much more relatable.
You know what I forgot to tell you guys? Okay. I saw I was over at a client's house, and on the television they had like MSNBC or something running like that. And they were talking about the economy, and they were talking about Trump's plan for the economy. And literally one of the anchors was just like laughing, like, can you believe he wants to do tariffs? Do you realize this is going to raise, the inflation for the average American? This is going to raise prices. It's going to be worse for Americans. Like if you really want a good economy, look at the economy right now. They were literally saying this on the news. And I was like, what? Like, how is the average person going to go for this? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the point they're trying to make? They're like, You want to know what Kamala's plan for the economy is? Look at what we have right now. 4 more years of this. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be amazing. The economy is up right now. And then they're like, well, what do you say to the average person who's like, yeah, but the economy is not really doing too good for, like, I'm not able to buy all the things that I want. Like, yeah, I mean, come on. Like, you got a raise, right? Right? So what happens when you get a raise? You get more spending power, and everybody else raises their prices too. So it's not, you can't blame that on Kamala. That's like, that's just the way that things go. But you have more spending power. You're muted. You're muted.
She's saying it's price gouging.
Exactly.
That's her big plan. Is day one she's going to stop price gouging.
But it's like, but everybody knows that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Remember,
okay,
people are these little pile of
you
broken
literally
bricks?
think these greedy corporations or whatever just all of a sudden realize we could just price gouge, guys.
Where do all these women work?
Facebook. I don't know.
The ones who are voting for her.
They used to work at Twitter.
Don't they work at these corporations?
Yeah.
So the idea that it's like the women are not working the low skill jobs, right? They have degrees. They're working in all these other big companies, and they're price gouging. But who's responsible then? It's just these. It's like a cartoon Disney fucking version of a villain. Like there's some company out there that's greedy. It's like, oh no, it's not the fucking money system itself. So when they're saying that the economy is doing well, it's just like literally those who benefit directly from that system at the top are like, it's doing well. What are you talking about? So they don't care at what level down here.
I just realized this point that is actually really significant. The tariffs would hurt the global trade, obviously,
right?
But it's that same point that guy with Destiny was talking about, that they were arguing about, of like, you won't be able to ship out that labor anymore to those other countries if there's high tariffs.
Right.
Because but the tariffs are actually a really good thing for a local economy, because it says we don't want to compete with somebody who's just going to have lower labor, all that stuff. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're good. And this is what was going on. McKinley had it so that the US was basically, we had high tariffs at that time. And what his plan was, because he wasn't opposed to open like global trade, except that he was like, what he would basically say is, let the American people catch up first. Let us get competitive first, so that when we do open up to the global markets, then we can actually compete. And it's not just like a bloodbath on our own people. We don't want that. We want, like, hey, we want to actually have enough of a market here that, well, what was going on at that time before he got assassinated, there was a surplus of American goods. And then he was like, okay, cool. Now is a good time where we can start opening up the global trade. We can have the tariffs drop down in moderation, so that we can have, basically, they'll drop down their tariffs just a little bit. We'll drop down ours just a little bit, and we can start that global trade. But prior to that, it was just like, no, not interested in any global trade, because we're suffering here on our own. Let's just take care of ourselves first, and then we can open up that market. And that's the exact opposite of what's going on right now.
Isn't there enough resources in the United States to internalize and for a period of time?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's not, again, that these are solutions, but it's interesting that even the things that are seemingly common sense within the context of the system as it is are still rejected.
Yeah.
And it's just total insanity. It's like, no, we should bring in tons of immigrants. Think about it. We should bring in all these immigrants. It doesn't make sense, because what was that guy arguing, Destiny arguing, that we should have immigration?
Because nobody wants to do those jobs anyway.
I don't know
So
what he was arguing.
what he was saying is, nobody wants to do those jobs anyway. So let them go to China or wherever, and then we can do different jobs.
But then what are the immigrants going to do? That's
Go
what
to
I'm trying to
China.
say. Like, does he not want the immigrants? Because if you're going to let those jobs go over there, but then you're going to bring in a bunch of people who are low skilled, Like they don't have college degrees. Like somebody coming across the border of Mexico is not going to suddenly go work at Facebook as a vice president of marketing. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So it's like really weird. It makes no, and it's like, oh, because you're lying and you actually just want people that to ensure that you're going to vote Democrat. That's all it is.
Yeah. None of it makes
It's
sense.
not even about Democrat because prior to Trump, it wouldn't really matter if it's Democrat or Republican. I don't think the system really gave a shit. You know what I mean? It was like both sides could be manipulated to support the system. And now what's happening is you have this on the Trump side is representing people questioning the system. Again, I know it's not the whole 100%, but imagine you actually think that there should be a system that's best for all and you're supporting Kamala Harris. Like at least we are honest about the point of we know Trump isn't the solution. But
Right.
between the two alternatives, this one's totally fucked and only represents the system locking down more. So how
Yeah.
could you possibly be for that? At least you
Right.
want the thing that gives you somewhat of an opening. So that just shows you the person hasn't walked their process at all of emotional stability, self-honesty, nothing. It's all just about how they feel. It's about self-interest only. And you know, because they're not in our group standing up with us. If they were,
Right.
anybody in this now that maybe someone's not aware of our group, right? But the point is, if they're not standing up in some way saying the system must be changed to be best for all, like at least that's the impulse that Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Trump, you know what I mean? Like people are at least, I mean, I'm not even really speaking for Trump at this point.
No.
It's like Trump is
it's just
just
more
the
the movement.
salesperson, and like the people who are like, hey, we see all these fuck things. Let's get on his side because at least he's really good at doing the show and selling. And he's
Dude.
our only hope of ever getting in there to the
I mean,
system at all.
look at the coordination, like you were saying the other day, the coordination of like Vivek and Nicole Shanahan and RFK Jr., like all of them, like
It
they're
was
bringing
because it was
together
because she made a post. What was the post? You remember?
the fucking squirrel. They
Oh yeah,
apparently, I
Nicole
didn't know about
Shanahan
this.
was defending the whole squirrel thing, which we could talk. Maybe we want to give context first, right?
So
Yeah,
again,
could someone explain the squirrel
we
thing
had fucking Madison Square Garden Nazi rally. We
Right.
had garbage people. We
Yeah.
had garbage people. We had McDonald's recently, and now
McDonald's,
we've got
yeah.
fucking Peanut the fucking squirrel. Which, by the way, there's this whole other side to that thing Katie told me about this morning, which was totally insane. You probably didn't even know about this.
I didn't know
tell
anything
us,
about
tell
the
us, come
peanut
on.
squirrel. Can you tell me about the peanut squirrel? Because I did not know anything about this until you shared
So
this
the
post.
story is there's this guy who has like a famous like TikTok whatever. He's got this pet squirrel that he rescued because his mother died or whatever, so he domesticated it, and it's cute and it's always running up his legs and doing funny stuff and jumping into cereal boxes and just it's cute, right? It's Peanut the squirrel, and it's like basically not, I don't know if it's trained. It's just have you ever taken, and you can imagine taking in a squirrel and it loves you because it's attached to you and it just becomes like domesticated, right? Super cute. So then like apparently he got raided by like the New York State Department of Environmental whatever because somebody reported the point, although it was viral on TikTok for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyways, they raided him. He tells the whole story of like having to sit outside for like 5 hours, and apparently part of it is he has like an animal sanctuary that he uses that TikTok to fund. And he was like making the point of like he couldn't even go like feed his horses for like all day because they're making him sit outside, like almost like doing an FBI raid on his house.
Right. Yeah.
And then like took the squirrel away, and then apparently it might have bitten one of the people or something, so they had to like kill it so they could check it for rabies. So they ended up euthanizing this. So they basically raided this dude's fucking apartment in New York, kidnapped his squirrel, and then killed it.
Wow.
And people are like, and it became a symbol of like, government overreach, basically, right? So it's become adopted by MAGA. And then all the Democrat people, of course, have to be on the wrong side. They're like, fuck that squirrel. It was an illegal squirrel anyways. You're not allowed to have squirrels in New York and so, as pets and all this shit. So it's like, totally insane, right? Totally insane.
Yeah.
So now it's everyone's like, Trump, put out a statement, please, like, dress up as a squirrel or something, like kind of, and it's like, I mean, do we really need that? But then the problem is, yeah, go ahead.
So, okay, so that's what this was then.
That's what the squirrel thing's about.
The Nicole Shanahan, my grandma had a pet squirrel, and then she's
See, there's Peanut. Of course, it had to be a black squirrel.
Of course.
And the people on the left are like, white people care more about this squirrel than they did George Floyd. Right? And people are like, yeah, but Peanut never put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly.
Oh
my God.
Peanut.
Yeah, there's Peanut. Yeah. Now check this
Okay.
out. Just full screen this for a second, okay?
This
Full screen
okay.
this. Yeah, I want to show you what Katie told me. I think it's pretty interesting. Not to drain the energy, but
Hang on, let me take
I
off
don't care
this.
for the music. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
That is a big ass squirrel.
Yeah. Oh wow. That what? That squirrel can jump.
Dang.
Oh. It's in his
Oh,
feed.
that's
Pretty cute.
Yeah.
Don't even.
I think this guy just wants to show off his butt.
Okay, now you're getting the point.
It's all about the guy's butt.
Okay, go back to the very beginning. Go back to the very beginning
The
now,
dude's
and
just
Mitch, I want
trying
you
to
to
get laid.
go back to the very beginning and
This
now
is the very
watch.
beginning.
Watch now carefully, right?
I just see his nuts.
Wow.
And so what Katie was telling me is apparently the guy has like an OnlyFans.
That
Oh
makes sense
no.
why his pants are so fucking tight.
And if you see like his wife, she's like, I'm not saying she's like super attractive, but I mean, maybe she's, I can't remember what her face looks like, but she's like, tatted out and like tight clothing and all that kind of stuff or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not to downplay the squirrel or any of that. It's like, okay, so because he has an OnlyFans, the state should be able to come in and fucking murder your pet squirrel. No, but it is interesting because it seems like it's almost like you're doing this viral thing because then you've got your other thing that it's like women with Instagram so that you go to their fucking OnlyFans and everything. It's kind of interesting.
Right. Very business savvy, I suppose.
I'm not claiming he does stuff with the squirrel on OnlyFans. I'm just saying.
Oh God.
Who knows? Who knows? But dude, it's so funny. All these people who they're getting so good at using the AI to make these memes of like Trump and Elon with like these guns, and then they got the squirrels and the cats and all that. It's like it's like this whole fucking movement.
It's like they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're killing the squirrels.
Legit. They're not helping.
Kind of
the other thing too about the whales too. I'm sure there's some video of like all of nature behind.
Did you
Trump.
see Robert Kennedy's post about Peanut?
No. Robert Kennedy did too.
He was talking about the person who killed the squirrel. He's like, "Is this the same person who killed that bear and that whale?"
Oh
Remember,
no.
because the whole thing about him with the bear and the whale. Remember those stories?
I don't.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, you wonder. Okay, remember with COVID how they were just impulsing so much fear and everything, and then people are like, oh, people are getting burned out by it. You wonder after the election happens, if there's gonna be like a mental like shift of like, oh, now that's over. It's coming. I don't know how that's gonna play out though, and I'm
What do you
sure,
mean?
just like how people are so jacked up right now on this election. It's like
Oh, yeah.
everyone every day is just like talking.
Here's what's going to happen. Okay, this is what people have said, but I think it makes the most sense from my perspective. The election's going to happen, and let's say our instincts are correct. Trump's going to win big time, right? Then they're going to spend the next several months or whatever like fighting the election,
right?
And that's going to be all you hear about is how there was. Maybe I don't know if they call it fraud or whatever, but they're going to do the same. You're going to see how they could have done that for Trump.
Yeah.
You're going to see how they could have done it for Trump, but instead they're going to do it on Trump. You know what I mean? When I say for him, I mean like back in 2020, they could have done it for him. And they demonized him for it. They're going to go in overdrive, but because it's on CNN and MSNBC and people are fucking
brainwashed.
We should call it double fucked.
Oh,
it's like when you participate in double think and your mind is fucked, you're double fucked, right?
Yeah. So like you're already fucked and you're listening to fucked media, double fucked.
Yeah, it's just like you're double fucking yourself, right? But it's like you're
like Destiny's wife.
Yeah, exactly. Right? This is what happens when you spell destiny wrong.
Dude, that was good, Mitch.
That was a pretty good one, Mitch. I gotta say.
It's true.
No, like there was something about.
Well, not anymore. She's gone.
When people were seeing the thumbnail of him, it's like him debating 25 people. He's like, wait, are they gonna all fuck his wife? It kind of seemed like it was some kind of like.
He seems like an angry boy trapped in there. Well, I mean, he is. That's literally what it is. Just some misunderstood boy. And then he went hardcore into learning how to debate.
Watching the way the media is just kind of going crazy right now, like the mainstream media, the legacy media, the way that they will attack people, it makes me realize like, oh, none of that's real. Like you don't have to be afraid of any of that, of like
Mm.
standing up or whatever, because it's like they're just gonna spew lies and you could just be like that
Like,
guy.
yeah, you are going to be attacked. Just get over it. But it's
Right.
not. It doesn't really matter, does
It's
it?
not real though. It's not real. Like it's not like coming from a place of like they actually like care or anything like that. They're not. I don't know how to say this.
No, they're
It's like
lying. They're just
they're lying.
lying.
They're
You
not
saw that
actually
lady.
angry.
She's like, vaccines are
You know
safe.
what?
Come
You know what
on.
it's like? Okay, it's like okay. Man, I don't. I'm trying to describe. It would be like when I'm trying to not be racist, but
Well,
you know,
everyone's racist, so
well, I'm trying to turn a new leaf, guys. Sandra put on one of our videos, Drake, are you black? Because it was like we were talking about Kamala or whatever. That I just replied, I'm more black than Kamala.
dude.
It would be like, okay, I got a great example. We have here Universal Studios, Disney, right? You can visit the parks here. And when you go to the parks, sometimes there are characters, like people playing a character, and there's supposed to be like a villain or something like that.
Sometimes they even work at the park.
I was talking about those ones actually.
You know what I mean? Nowadays, you don't even know. Like, is this person even working here? It's like crazy.
Right,
They're like
right,
grown
yeah.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah. But it would be like you're going up against one of these characters and having, because you'll see these videos of some person who's a park goer and they're talking to one of the characters and the character's like, shouting at them and demeaning them and all this,
Yeah.
right? But they don't actually mean it. They're just playing a role. They're just playing a character. Like that's literally what people out there are like when they're yelling at you. It's like they don't actually
Dude,
mean it.
like that video of the Lutnick guy talking to that woman about the
That's what I'm
RFK
saying.
point. It's like
Yes.
she may not even, and like, because look at what happened with Chris Cuomo.
Yeah.
Now he's
yeah.
saying stuff that makes sense, and you're like, he's such a good like player of the character
Yeah. You don't
that
know.
when he's talking now, you're like, it still seems fake.
Yeah.
At least when you hear Tucker now talk, it's like it's as if he's talking in his real voice or something. You know what I'm trying to say. Whereas with Cuomo, he's like he can't drop. Maybe that's just how he talks, but you're like, I feel like you're just saying it now because that's where the tide's turning. You can't really tell. Was he faking before? Is he still faking now? And yeah.
Did you find it interesting how he got hired by Valuetainment and then literally after that, gone, like not heard of since?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. Like what happened?
It's like everybody like made a big stink, like fuck that, no way, and then he's like gone, and they saw the Adam guy on there.
But you wonder when they said hired by Valuetainment, like maybe he has a contract with them, and you know what I mean? I don't know, like because he's working for like it was like News Nation or something. What's that? Like
Yeah.
I saw him recently, so I don't know. Like maybe they're still paying him for maybe they have some kind of contract with him. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't seem like he's doing any Valuetainment stuff.
Doesn't seem like he's bringing much value.
Hey, we have to go in a few minutes, but I want to show you guys this kind of off topic, but I just thought it was so amazing that we had to talk about it.
Go ahead.
Because I think Mitch needs to see this. Okay, so Dragon Age. Do you hear about this?
Oh, dude, is this the Seinfeld version?
No, maybe.
I watched it yesterday. It was so funny.
The Seinfeld version, I think, is
But
I
I want people to see like what's going on in video games.
So this is like a popular video game apparently. I haven't
seen
this one yet.
People are fucking hating it now, but it was supposed to be really big. Look, you can see this woman's nipple. I just noticed that. Like, what the?
Did you just assume her gender?
Okay, why does she look masculine as fuck and that dude looks like so weak?
That's a dude?
Just watch. Just watch. You'll love this, Mitch.
Okay.
Pounding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barv.
Oh, okay. A barv?
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big drawn-out apologies. So when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling above. Oh, there we go.
I'm glad the Lords of Fortune have Tarsh's back.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours. Huh. Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of them, too.
Any reason you can't just apologize?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a bath, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, you know, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay. Yes, some people might do that.
Pulling above puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
He literally did a bunch of fucking push-ups in front of everybody and made a whole fucking speech.
Yeah.
Like, that whole scene just became about that person. You know,
Right.
like, what the... Anyways, that's just a retarded part
Did you
about
also
it, but-
notice she's dressed as a peacock?
Really?
She's got peacock feathers in her back, and she's got like the kind of like a beak and like feathers coming out the back of her head. as
Oh,
well.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more real quick.
We could use a second sober voice.
I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
It's a figure of speech.
Huh. I was wondering when this would happen.
I don't follow.
You two didn't seem to be bonding.
I need one of these little needle things to dig some crap out of my armor. Death Mage won't give me one.
First, a bone threader is an extremely delicate instrument. Second, it's Emmerich, Tash. My name is Emmerich, not Death Mage, not Corpse Guy, not... I won't repeat the rest.
What? You are a Death Mage.
Why are all my attempts...
Okay, so I don't even want to play the rest of it. But it's like this whole scene with him feeling offended, and it's just like, dude, what the... This is like part of the game.
Oh.
I'm definitely never playing that fucking game.
What
Who plays
the
this?
fuck?
I don't understand who plays this.
It's supposed to be like a really big, popular game that's come out, and now everyone's like, what the fuck, man? Now it's getting like the bad reviews, but like the critic reviews are really high and everything. And then, of course, they're writing their articles of like, oh, the right-wing terror campaign against the game or some shit, you know? And it's like, but it's just like, talk about brainwashing. And it's like constantly trying to impulse everybody with this shit. And it's like,
do kids play this game?
I would assume so. I think it's like supposed to be a popular game. I don't know much about it, but
So I'm guessing that's who they're targeting, is like
well,
the
yeah.
kids who don't.
Oh, yeah.
know
I
better,
mean,
you know.
I mean, today like adults play games just as much as
I know, but what I'm saying is like it's not meant to convince the adults. It's like,
but it's still meant to like put it there, and like it's kind of like we talk about with the news, like
Yeah.
Jack Cruz or whoever was saying about like it's in who was it that was talking about, like it's there to instruct you. It was Weinstein, right?
yeah.
Right? It's there to instruct you, right? So yeah, it's just insane. I mean, this is the kind of bullshit you can expect 1,000 times if Kamala Harris becomes the president. So yeah. Well, I guess we have to go in a few minutes, but what else? Any other? Yeah, wrap us up, Mitch.
Man, just do you guys want more of that shit, or do you want to actually just step up? Like, we can just play the game at the highest level.
that game? I don't want to play that game.
No,
I am not playing that game.
The full game, to make sure no more games have to be like that. So yeah, I mean, I use it all as motivation to go fucking share.
And I guess if you're in America, go vote for Trump, because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, if you're in America, definitely go vote. Don't be one of those bitches who's like, "My vote doesn't count." It's like, literally, what pattern are you participating in if you don't go vote?
Because if you don't,
Hey, and
Like,
honestly,
I live
even
in
if
Minnesota,
you're
and I'm
not
gonna
from
still
America,
go vote. Okay.
I'm sure it's okay if you come over here and vote for Trump anyways, right? You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not trying to like break any election laws here or anything. I'm just saying like the Democrats would be okay with it, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They want you to vote without having to show any voter ID. So go ahead, do it.
I don't see why it really matters at this point, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we'll see you guys on the next meeting, and bye, everybody. See you in next week.
See you in a week where we will have our new president elected.
President Trump. Okay, bye.
Let's go.
Bye.